so long ago. Sleepless.
What is up, guys? Welcome to Diggity, a video game podcast. I'm Jeff James, as always with me, the incredible, unobtainable, luscious Brody Faults. And joining us, the incredible gentleman from WASD and Beyond podcast. We've got Nick. And we've got Evan, made for great audio. Right there, Nick, with the finger gun.
I'm going to edit that out. I'll edit that out.
No, it's fine with it.
And
we've talked about it now. It has to stay.
Yeah, and tonight we're doing a whole recap on good old good old sweet old E3. It's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait.
Electronic Ecstasy Expo, right? That's the 3 E's.
I think so.
Okay.
So yeah, it's gonna be a long one probably, no doubt. But we're gonna go. But it's the last one. So it's been a lot of work. Before we get into it, I just want to say too, it's been a blast doing this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like
it really has.
I've had a good time doing it for sure.
Cheers to you, boys.
Cheers with my Propel.
Water tonight, boys.
All right.
Water.
Enhanced water.
Oh, I'm the alcoholic tonight. Nice.
Mm-hmm. No, Nick, I just didn't want to show mine to everybody.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, look at that. The goblet peeks in from the bottom of the frame.
Yikes. Anyways,
like that.
It's been a pleasure doing this with you guys so far, and I think it was probably the best move we could make, honestly, is doing this stuff with you guys. So,
this was a blast, dude.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're gonna definitely have to do shit like the PlayStation stuff together, and we'll have to do like some other stuff together down the road as well. We'll definitely have to watch Game Awards together because Brody and I both suffer tremendously from watching that.
Oh, we're down.
Uh-huh.
I know.
Oh, I had so much fun last year. I had a blast. I had a blast.
Swedish Chef, man.
Swedish Chef, baby.
Holy
Can't
cow.
wait.
We smirch the Swedish Chef.
So, this episode's
Swedish Chef is
gonna
God.
be pretty like what, freeform kind of on this.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
We're
there's
good.
one thing that I do want to address is the top 5 games from E3 that for each of us. Other
You
than
just want to
that,
get it out of the way?
yeah, let's just get that out of the way now, and then we can go in on everything else later. Huh?
Sure,
Huh?
and then we
works
can
for me,
wrap it
yeah.
up with report card on the whole thing.
Everything else will be a little
I
bit
think
more
we could
free-forming
also
for sure.
Wrap this episode up with a very special announcement that we've been alluding to all week.
Why don't we just do it now?
Heard you,
Fuck
bird.
it,
Yeah,
let's
heard
do
you,
it.
bird.
You know what? Fuck it, just do it.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Jeff's
When I
gonna be on
listen
the
to
next episode of Diggity.
Yes, he will.
when I listen to podcasts, I just don't. I mean, like at the very end when someone's like, "Okay, that'll do it for this episode," then immediately just like shut the fuck up. I even do that
One
to
more
myself.
thing.
Even when I like listen
dude,
through an
yeah.
episode just to make sure it's okay. At the end of our episodes, I'm like, "Okay, I don't want to fucking hear you anymore, Jeff. I'm just shut up."
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Like, it's not even, you know. So, okay, cool. Well, Nick, do you want to announce it? You get it, buddy.
I don't want
Nick.
to. You know what?
Nick,
Rock,
do
paper,
it.
scissors, go, Brody.
Nope.
No,
You're doing a great job. You're doing a
It's
great
you.
job.
You're doing great. You got it.
WASD.
That mustache commands respect.
Yeah.
Oh, this dirt stash? It's
Yeah.
all right.
Mhm.
Don't be calling
It's
it
coming
dirt
in.
stash, dude. That's fucking. That's a good one.
Mhm. It is. It is. Well,
It's-
WASD and Beyond and the Diggity podcast
What's up,
are about
boys?
to make a really fucked up love child, I guess. And this love child is going to be called Objectively Bad Opinions.
Yay!
Yeah.
OBO
I
for
can
short.
tell you,
Very
OBO. I can tell you
Obo.
right now, this show is going to have no structure,
Ha. Ha.
And I
Not
love
really.
it.
Ha.
and
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm stoked for that. Just free forming. Like that's part of what's been so fun about this. Like we've kept some notes of everything that's been announced and whatnot throughout the week here. But I mean, the best episodes I think we had from this week were the ones where they were just kind of free flowing and you just get to have fun. And I mean, we had our 200th episode with you guys, and
Yeah.
I think that's when this was kind of all decided that we were going to do it. And our 200th episode ended up being like 2.5 hours long, and we didn't talk a single word about video games. So that's kind of where we got the idea, like, hey, let's do this. I mean, we do plan to keep it down to an hour. That way we just don't absolutely ruin everyone that listens to it. But very, very excited for this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
there'll be no video game talk in this podcast.
unless it comes up as something ridiculous. But
Yeah, like
Yeah,
no
yeah.
news though. No news. Like we're not gonna announce video game news on this. This is
No.
all like
Can we
just
still
shooting
shit
the
on
shit.
Kotaku?
Oh, Kotaku can catch these
Oh,
hands
yeah.
any day of the week.
Perfect. All right.
Grapes.
Grapes.
So yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, like, I guess topic-wise, it's just be a bunch of people hanging out, just chatting, talking about dumb stories probably, and also just probably, current events or something like that, and also just probably completely spinning a fake narrative on purpose and bullshit conspiracy on purpose.
That'll be Nick's job.
About
Nick
current events, just because
he's so
it's fun.
excited. I can see it in his
the
mustache.
conspiracy corner, the mustache, the conspiracy corner will know no bounds on OBO. I'll tell you that right now.
So
I'll be looking up historical funny moments, like I've told Nick about she poo poo and she doo doo, which is something that will be brought up. That was quite a classic story. So
it's a doozy.
That one is truly one of the best things I've ever heard.
yeah.
What could we compare OBO to? Because I would compare it to like Tom Segura and Christina Pajitsky, their podcast, Your Mom's House.
Yeah, I'd say it's like that. It's like that.
style.
I mean, if people
I'd
want to
say
For the Two Bears, One Cave with Tom Segura and Kreitner.
Bert Kreischer.
Or
Yeah.
Kreischer, yeah.
crystals.
Yeah. Or like, I mean, if you want to bring it to like something that people watching this podcast would probably understand from too. I guess kind of like a Rooster Teeth podcast where we just kind of like talk about dumb shit. And
or almost even like Funhouse.
yeah,
Guy
that's
do,
right.
I
Yeah.
guess they bring it.
Dude soup.
Dude soup, yeah. So
What do you
I
think, Evan?
agree. I said to me, like what I would compare it to is Forehead Fables. That's
Okay.
a pretty
Oh,
good
yeah.
podcast where
Yeah.
that's same structure. They just talk. There's no structure. They just kind of talk about whatever.
Now that we've told everyone else to go listen to other fucking podcasts before listening to ours,
Dude soup.
we'll get on with stuff. But yeah, I mean, look forward to an update on that in a couple weeks. We'll get everything all set up.
I'm wearing
Very
Funhouse
soon.
pants right now.
Yeah,
I'm
very
pretty
soon,
happy.
and we'll record that episode and get our first one up and have a blast with it. I think we've
that's
got
gonna be
to. I
really
mean, we
good.
still got to decide on a logo, but we're figuring
Yeah.
it all out. So
We're a little bit out, but we're also getting everything ironed out. So
we're stoked.
Very good.
All right,
So what was top 5 games
Top
that we
5
all are
games.
like our favorite?
5 games
from
And
E3 2021.
You can have up to 2 honorable mentions as well. No mas.
hit it. Who's getting it first?
Evan's going first.
What does no
right,
mas
that's
mean? What does it mean?
No more.
No more.
Okay, sorry, I'm Canadian.
Canadians.
Okay. I honestly probably don't even have a whole top 5. I only have top 2.
Top 2.
Battlefield and Rocksmith.
Hold
That's
the fuck
all I
on.
really
Hold
liked.
the fuck on. So Taco Bell's saying is live more?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
stupid.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No.
That
That's
is-
more important than what I had to say.
that is
honestly, like
dumb.
I had 2 games
I'm
that
sorry,
I really
Evan.
liked. No, you're fine. I'm serious. Like I had 2 games that I really liked from E3, and that was Rocksmith Plus and Battlefield. There were, I guess, honorable mentions that I enjoyed were
Which would make out the
Starfield.
rest of your top 5.
they're not even that. Like
That's how that fucking works. They don't have to be
No.
your favorite game of all time. They just have to
No,
be the
they're
top
on-
5 from the
everything
show.
else. Everything else is honorable mentions. The top
Okay.
the top 5 for me were Battlefield again, Rocksmith twice, and then Battlefield one more time.
Okay, that's cool. That's all
And then
right. I don't know, man.
honorable mentions that I liked were Starfield, I think, and that's it. Yeah, I wasn't really like excited. I wasn't excited about much, dude.
I mean,
there
that's
wasn't a
definitely
lot that
not how
grabbed me.
math works, but
Yeah.
You know,
Uh-huh.
Am I supposed to know how math works on this show? That wasn't a prerequisite, I thought.
Also, the honorable mentions implies plural, as in more than one.
Well, Starfield
That's
twice.
fine. Okay,
Starfield
Starfield
twice.
twice. There it is. Uh-huh.
There we go.
good God.
Oh my god.
I didn't really find a lot interesting, I guess.
You know what? That is fine. That is totally
That is fine.
I mean, no, because that wouldn't work. But like, I've already liked Far Cry, but that was before E3 happened, so that wasn't
Right.
still
Still
was
a
that-
favorite.
I mean,
yeah,
It was still
Like-
there.
yeah. I mean, we saw just that little trailer of Anton, right? I think that's all we got. I mean, the
technically-
gameplay happened a while
Technically,
ago.
we saw Battlefield before E3 too. So I mean, you're kind of
That's
splitting
true.
hairs at a certain point. But yeah, that's
All right,
fine.
Ba-
That's
Battlefield
fine.
twice, Rocksmith twice, Far Cry 6, and then honorable mentions is Starfield twice. There we go. I amended my list.
This man's confused me.
such a bastard.
This man has confused me.
I have to find my incendiary balloons. Somebody else go.
God.
Jesus.
All right.
He just made that joke.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and go and hope everybody forgets about that moment. So my top one's definitely Battlefield. Everything we saw from Battlefield looks fucking incredible. I'm so stoked for that game. Breath of the Wild 2 is very close second up there. I mean, granted, we didn't see much, and it's still a ways out, probably holiday 2022, but really excited to see more from that game, and it makes me want to go back and play the first one again. Third up was Halo Infinite. That multiplayer looks incredible. I think they really knocked that out of the park, and even without showing off much of the single player aspect of it, I think the way multiplayer is shaping up, I think there's a lot of love that is going into this project, and I really think it will turn out pretty good. Forza 5's actually my fourth. I love racing games, and this one looks really, really good. And the biomes that they've used for this, the biomes that Mexico actually creates, is fantastic, and it really creates this beautiful landscape of, you see snow, desert, a different kind of desert, and then a jungle of some sort, all within a very small portion of the map, and I mean it just looks so fucking gorgeous still. And then my fifth one is probably one that is not going to grace anybody else's list here, but Shin Megami Tensei 5. It didn't look the greatest, but I really love Persona 5 a lot, and this is gonna scratch that itch for me, and this has been a long time coming for this game. So that's my fifth one there. So my honorable mentions. I have two games and one other thing. My Rainbow Six Extraction is my first game. I think that'll be a really good co-op game to sit down and play. You got to get a group of friends to play it, obviously, or else it's not going to be a whole lot of fun. But I think that has potential to be another multiplayer game that we would get into pretty heavily. And I'm trying to choose which one I want to mention for my second one. I'm gonna go with Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that game has a lot of potential. There's some issues that are concerning and things that we kind of pointed out that, like that frame rate has to be tight. You can't be having that and releasing this game. It is. I am slightly concerned about it, or actually I'm pretty heavily concerned about it, to be quite honest, but it is going to be a single player game, so there is that, where they're not trying to do that shoehorn in some microtransaction bullshit with like they did with Avengers. And then my other honorable mention is the capitalist Xbox mini fridge.
Oh shit.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Take that, Kotaku. Take that.
Grapes.
That came out of left field.
I can't wait to put my grapes in that Xbox.
I would imagine they'd be pretty cold. I mean, that capitalism, that cold hard cash, it's going to keep those grapes pretty chill.
Quite frankly, I want to buy that Xbox fridge way more now after that stupid article.
Oh, heck yeah. Congrats.
I get it.
That's capitalism right there, dude. It's best.
Capitalism.
Boy, okay.
You got a big hill to climb, buddy.
Battlefield 2042. Okay. Pretty big fan.
Okay.
Like that stuff. It's pretty big fan on that.
Like that stuff.
Halo Infinite intrigues me. Not the multiplayer stuff, but the actual campaign part intrigues me. I don't have an Xbox, but Horizons 5 looks beautiful. And it's more of it's in my top 5 because it just stuns me at how gorgeous it looks. And I really enjoyed it a lot. I liked it a lot. I'm a piece of shit, so I'm going to say Super Mario Golf, even though it hasn't come out yet, but I saw it again, so I need to do.
It's so close that I didn't even think about it being part of E3. I'm just like, hey, that's right around the corner.
Evan's dead. Evan's
I didn't even think. I was not expecting that. That came out of left field. I did not expect you to say that.
I'm a piece of shit.
He loves golf and he loves Mario.
Love it.
I get it.
And then the fridge is fucking sweet.
That's your fifth favorite game?
There you go.
It holds shit. It's cold. It's probably going to be at a pretty expensive price. It's
I'm sure it's at least $200.
Example. I think the fridge is pretty fucking sweet, man.
Cool.
This list is fucked. Just absolutely fucked.
Not as bad as mine.
Is that your list?
Yeah, honorable mention.
What comes after the Xbox Mini Fridge?
Breath of the Wild 2, honorable mention. Shit. Oh, Party Animals, honorable mention as well.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
Look cool.
So
There you go.
you guys my stuff. Starfield was neat too, but you know.
Well, I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Gabe
Halo.
Newell showing up as 4 of them.
I will stab you in the neck. with a
No,
knife.
you won't. You won't.
Oh,
Halo.
Shit.
Halo's at the top of my list for sure. Looked great. Excited for
Over
multiplayer.
Battlefield?
Oh yeah, big
Really?
Halo guy, dude. Big Halo
Get
guy.
out.
Fair enough.
Wow.
Get out.
Listen.
Nope.
I can't go any. I'm already
You gotta
sick.
go.
My son's asleep. If I leave, my son will wake up.
I'm gonna yell at Landon and wake him up.
Battlefield, for sure, right under Halo. That game is gonna take all of my time. I already know it. Starfield, I'm super pumped for this game. I'm excited to see if Bethesda can crawl the hole they put themselves in with Fallout 76. Breath of the Wild 2. It just looks incredible. Super excited for that. Forza, I'm not a big race guy or a car guy. I don't care for the need for speed or to go vroom, vroom. But this game looks gorgeous, and I would love to see it run on my Xbox. So I'll probably buy it for that reason. My honorable
Game
mentions,
Pass, man. Game Pass.
I know. I'm fucking pumped. Guardians of the Galaxy. But I do share the same concerns Brody does, where the shit they were showing off, while it did look good, there was a lot of stuttering involved, and it had what appeared to be some technical issues. So that concerns me. But, here's hoping. And then my last honorable mention would be Rocksmith Plus. I want to learn how to play guitar, and this seems like the perfect tool you could get if you don't know how to play. So for me, this is a cool thing that I would love to try out. I'd probably buy the entire year subscription and just try to learn for that entire year and see how far I get and if I can start playing, because I don't know how to play guitar. So if I get this and I start learning how to actually play, I'd be stoked.
Well, it is the fastest way to learn guitar. That's what it says on the box. So it's true.
Evan, are you going to be an ambassador for Rocksmith?
Honestly, I would be. Just because I know how good it is. It's obviously not going to teach you the same things in terms of like what a music teacher would teach you, just like about theory and that kind of stuff.
Music teacher, I suppose.
That's true. But when it comes to like jamming or something like that with other people, Rocksmith obviously doesn't really teach you any of that stuff. It's more just learn how to learn those techniques and that kind of stuff. But no, what Nick's saying is exactly true, where it gets people into it and it's not hard. I mean, you can look it up on YouTube. There's plenty of people who have documented their progress. So like day one, I've never played a guitar before. Here's a year later. That was actually the challenge for 2014, was people should record themselves progress day by day and then just upload the, what happened when you started and then what happened at the end and what you learned. And a lot of people learned. They learned how to play, and it was fun and intuitive, and it's not a game. It's more of a tool, but
yeah,
it's pretty exciting.
I'm super excited. I'm excited
learn
to try
today.
it out.
I'd like to
learn today.
I'd like to amend my list real quick. Battlefield's at the top. Rocksmith is second. Forza is third. I didn't think about Forza. I forgot it was even shown off. And then fourth was Top Gun and Flight Sim. I've never played Flight Sims before, but I think that actually kind of got me into it. I thought that was kind of cool. And then fifth was actually the Sea of Thieves DLC.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I was thinking about all the Xbox stuff when you brought up Forza, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about those, and like those actually look pretty sweet.
There was a lot of good stuff shown off during that.
Yeah, honorable mentions now are Starfield and the mini fridge.
You know,
that goes with everybody else.
3 of our lists.
I changed mine for it.
This fridge. Can at least one of us get this fridge?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. I got to see a price on it before I agree to anything. I already have a mini fridge.
Amber's watching. She's going.
Oh, she's definitely watching.
She's doing
didn't
this
stop
upstairs.
me from buying a fucking Game & Watch during the middle of our stream last night.
That is $50, Brody. This mini fridge is going to be like $300.
Right.
Oh, we'll see. I'm trying to find it. If they have announced a price yet, or people are guessing.
You heard it.
From what I could tell yesterday, they had not.
Okay,
But
yeah, I don't see anything either.
I bet you it'll be at least 200, probably 250. Because a normal
Probably.
mini fridge you can get for like 80 to 120-ish.
Bitch, that's gonna be like $500.
Can I
No.
interject real quick? Can I address something?
No, you can't.
Go for it.
Brody.
Justin Johnson in the chat. What are your guys' reason for not being interested in Stalker 2? I am totally interested in this game. Do not get me wrong on that. Stalker 2 looks phenomenal. The mechanics that you use with the anomalies to, like, specifically the invisible one that sucks in and booms shit. You know, you have the bolts in your hand, you have the meter, you're tossing bolts. It looks amazing. Stalker 2 just didn't make the list because I think there were bigger things that were announced this year. It's definitely up there. It's in my list, but for a top 5, it's not in the top 5. It is in my honorable. It should be in my honorable mentions. We're supposed to keep it at 2 honorable mentions. If I could have had 3,
I figured we'd kind of pick up
Trying to
some
blame
of the
you.
rest of the honorable mentions as we kind of go through the rest of the show.
Well,
But
there you go, Steve. We're not done yet. We're not.
Yeah, we're not even close to done yet.
Are there any other notes on Stalker 2 and why you don't support it?
Yeah.
No, I support this game 100%. I'm really excited for Stalker 2. He was asking why maybe Stalker 2 wasn't anybody's list.
Oh, okay.
I would imagine
that's 'cause we're plebs.
for the diggity side of things, too spoopy. We don't
far,
do spoopy
dude,
games here.
Far too spoopy on my end. I mean, there's no way I'm gonna play this. I mean,
No,
I'll
I
have
just
the
have
spoops all night.
never
dude.
gotten into games that like have the jump scares and stuff. I don't enjoy them. There's nothing for me there personally, but
Right.
I mean,
Dude, yeah.
this game looks great though, and I really
it looked
do
gorgeous.
like this was a good trailer and everything too. I mean, I have no issue with the game whatsoever, but it's not my kind of game really.
I mean, my reason for it, I guess, would be that I've played kind of the Metro series, and those were really good. And I've never played a Stalker game before, and it's like I'm gonna try it. I'm definitely gonna try it, but it didn't make that big of a splash for me as much as the other ones did for me to add it.
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Scary games don't bother me that much. I'm a scaredy cat. I don't like scary things, but for certain
about
for like
spooky
Resident Evil,
games?
I put myself through it, right? Like for games I really like and stories I enjoy, I'll put myself through it. So if I can get interested in the story of Stalker, then I'll play through it. But if it just kind of comes off as like
you will.
if it comes off just more as like I'm not interested in it, or like it doesn't grab me and it's just more of things that are trying to scare me, I'm not going to be as interested in it.
Yeah.
So
Stalker is awesome. I'm excited for this game as well. Just clear that out of the air.
So I think I kind of want to start off, aside from our top 5 games list, just kind of run through some of these bigger conferences. Most of the smaller keynotes we really won't touch on, but
Right.
I mean, in my mind, I would say Xbox won this shit.
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt, Xbox took this home.
And I would argue that they won it predominantly in part due to Game Pass. I mean, 27 out of the 30 games they showed off are things that will be coming to Game Pass on day one, which,
Right.
yeah,
I mean, I know we've gotten comments and stuff about Game Pass not being a good value and stuff, and I full-heartedly disagree. I can't believe it's still only $15 for Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
insane.
it probably would
It's
be
insane.
up if people didn't revolt about the first big change, because you could see the writing on the wall there was to increase the cost of the live stuff,
Which is not usually a great business model.
Yeah, to spread
hey, we're
it
gonna
across
raise the
another
price.
service. Right, yeah. But now, I mean, they're going to have to, right, eventually. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, for me, like that validates the service more. But I mean, I think just their games were solid too.
Yeah. I agree. But I do think that Game Pass just adds that extra oomph to the end of it. But I mean, 30 games, it was a fantastic presentation the way they went about it. It was one game after another. There wasn't a whole lot of talking, a lot of bullshit like we've seen in the past, I mean, we didn't have Keanu Reeves come out on stage or anything like that. It was very much a to the point, let's show the games because that's what we're here for. And unfortunately, a lot of the rest of this conference, not this conference specifically, but E3 as a whole did not follow suit. And for that, I mean, I think Nintendo is probably second, but I think Xbox and Bethesda really knocked this out of the park, and I think this was easily the best conference of E3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. I really liked Xbox more than anybody just because of, I think the sheer amount of games they showed as well as how it was fast to the point. And also, everything that I was interested in was on Game Pass. Flight Sim, Forza, Battlefield, I think, not that matters because I have EA Play Pro, but I think that might be on Game Pass at some point as well because if you have the EA partnership,
maybe.
you might.
There's talks about it. So the EA partnership is EA Play, which EA Play games are usually games that are a little bit older. So
EA
it will
Play
eventually, it will eventually probably come to Game Pass, but that's kind of one of the questions in the air right now that I don't think they're going to address until they get a little bit closer to launch.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because they could always add on a separate section for Game Pass where it's maybe $10 more and it's EA Play Pro, which is not bad considering EA Play Pro on its own is $15 a month, I think. So like in some sort of way like that, they could do it. EA Play, depending on the game, will give you the opportunity to play the newest games, but it's only a 10-hour trial. You don't get to play like through the whole game, or you don't get to like own it technically. But I mean, I could totally see them giving it like, hey, we're announcing Game Pass EA Play Pro. That's a pretty sweet deal. I mean, for $25, I mean, you get all of EA stuff, new stuff, and Game Pass stuff. That's a pretty sweet addition to your Series X or S or your Xbox One, whatever you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty
cool.
I think
I'll be playing this on PlayStation though because I don't have my Series X yet. So probably be, unless I can magically find one. But as of right now, it seems like it's still going to be a little rough to get one before this holiday season. So I'll probably be picking this up on PlayStation. Plus, that's where I predominantly play anymore anyway. So
right.
I think also with this showcase, there wasn't too much padding. Like a lot of other, not a lot, most every other conference had a lot of padding, a lot of shit you've already seen, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, cool. Like, I've seen this already. You know, even before E3, I've seen this. And Xbox, not only was there not a lot of padding, but also the pacing of this conference was just spot on. It was game after game after game after game. Pause for a minute. Game after game after game. Pause. And there was nice little seconds to breathe, and then you were just like bombarded with more games. But it wasn't to the point where you weren't remembering these games. It was like, holy shit, like they're giving a lot of these games time to present themselves. Was there a lot of gameplay footage of these games? No. But the games like, you know, Battlefield, Halo, even Stalker 2, they showed off a lot of the good stuff and that's going to be happening in these games, and it made me stoked for Xbox, the future for this the Xbox console. Bethesda is looking like they might be back up, you know, on the rise of Starfield. Creation Engine 2, Atomic Heart as well, when that was shown off again. So it's good to see Xbox learn from each and every mistake from previous E3s. You know, when they showed off the Xbox One, and it was like, but you can like hook up your TV to this and watch cable on it. Everyone went, "The fuck are you talking about?"
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Though,
that's not what anybody wanted.
Right. I bought a console, not a fucking Comcast box.
TVs have more than one HDMI port. I'm pretty sure I'll be okay.
Well, you guys have phones, right?
Use my Roku.
Diablo 2 being shown off during this conference blew me away. I was not expecting Diablo 2. And I was like, oh, cool, they're showing Diablo 4. And then it's like, wait a minute. And you're like, no, they're not. That's Diablo 2. And the more I watch, I'm like, holy fuck, this is Diablo 2. So, like, they showed off Diablo 2 as well. And that right there, I was like, dude, this is a great conference. I cannot believe, like, this is what Xbox did this year. That's why Xbox had the best conference, because they just blew people back with expectations. And I think. So, yeah. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, Jeff, do you have any opinions?
Oh, on Xbox in total, I think while it was great, stacked amongst other past E3s, I still think it's behind by a fair amount. But also, there's a lot that goes to that, right? I mean, you had the whole pandemic and everything, and that caused that was horrible for the industry. I mean, it wasn't at the start, but then, you know, now we're going to deal with it for the next year probably. for the industry, right? Of them just playing catch up. But I mean, I thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty strong. I still think like, you know, they've made some of these acquisitions like years ago now, and some of them we still don't really have like concrete like showcase of like what's going on. And again, I think that would have been like, this would have been the year that we would have actually seen that. Hence, you know, if we had not went through a pandemic. Yeah, I think that's probably the case. But I would have liked to see a couple more things like that. I also would have liked to see more hype, where like they come out and they talk about like exactly how many games they're making. You know, like I was expecting them to come out and be like, hey, with, you know, over X amount of studios, we're committed to making, you know, fictional number of games over the next, you know, year or something like that. Or we're currently in development with, you know, XYZ games.
I think most of the studios have a game that's in the works right now.
Yeah, but there's not. But like, you know, you see Fable.
I think there's only 2 of them I'm not sure of, right? Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like, it's just some of them.
They're also working on Forza too. I mean,
right? I mean,
they're
moving talent all over the place, working on numerous things. But I would have just expected a little bit more from that. And I was expecting some hardware stuff.
I was not.
I was expecting like new controller stuff and new, like exclusive stuff with like Bethesda when it comes to hardware.
I feel like that would have kind of been.
They do it every other.
But people can't even get Xboxes right now.
Yeah,
so I feel like it would have been a little bit of a kick while people are down, right? Like, hey, this is really cool, but you're not gonna fucking see it, nor can you use it. Like,
I could see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I mean, I was expecting them to announce a new acquisition.
I did expect that,
but they did not.
Okay.
Nope.
I don't know if that means they're done.
I don't think they're done. I think they just.
The last one I see them buying is buying Capcom or Sega,
which would be Capcom. That'd be insane.
I would see them buying Capcom before I would Sega.
Capcom's got a lot on their plate, like with just all the Resident Evil stuff they're doing, and like people like it. You know, people like the Resident Evil remakes and the games themselves, the new ones. So like, I could see that. I mean, they do Monster Hunter, right? I've never played that, but
I mean, my only thing on Sega is like, obviously Sonic isn't like super popular, but Xbox is always lagged behind on creating, you know, 3D platform or any sort of family focused game.
Yeah,
and I think that would strengthen Game Pass a lot more.
The other thing with Sega too, though, is they own Atlus.
Yep.
Which Atlus makes Persona games, and Xbox has really been pushing to bring like more Japanese developers into their ecosystem. So that'd be a fantastic move. And on top of that, though, Atlus, most of their games, if they release on console, they're going straight to PlayStation. So that would just be just a nice another little dig for Xbox to kind of pull off here.
Yeah. So I was expecting that, and then expecting a little bit more from Starfield.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more in depth on it. We've been teased about it so much, you know, and it's like I would have liked to see a little bit more footage, a little bit more in depth stuff to it. And yeah, I mean, other than that, I thought it was okay. I mean, I thought it was pretty solid. But like, I mean, I think you could have had this conference as like a XO show that they do, and I think you would have been fine.
I feel like it still was maybe a little big for I don't know, because we've already seen Halo, right? So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And the multiplayer, but the multiplayer thing, the big dive into it, big I say, but it was like 10 minutes the next morning, which was great, and that was actually probably got me more hyped for it than what we actually saw during E3.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Forza looked fantastic, but we got another like half-hour dive into that the next day as well, which was again better. And then but the Battlefield gameplay, I really think was part of why I loved this conference so much. But they had they had 3 or 4 big things that I think really were kind of the tent poles for this whole show. And I think it did a good job, but everything in the middle wasn't slouching either. Everything in the middle was still solid, so still good, and things that, while they may not be my cup of tea, it's somebody's cup of tea, and there's kind of that. I think they were strong throughout the entire thing rather than having
Right.
low points. And I think it makes it look so much better, especially in this year where, I mean, really only a few people actually brought the heat this year. I mean, everybody else they'd show up for 10 minutes and show off one game, or they didn't even show up, or they had a Zoom panel or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it was just kind of a weird year. Like everything just felt off, and you could really feel the effects, the aftershock from the pandemic last year.
Yeah.
And yet Xbox still put on a great show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give this year to Xbox 100%.
So Evan, did you have anything to add or?
No. I'm good. Okay. Yeah, no.
I would say the next two, and I would argue that Nintendo was probably stronger here. Even though Evan's not a Nintendo guy, I would argue that Nintendo got second. I don't know what everybody else's opinion on that is, but I would think that they had the second strongest showing. I mean, it definitely wasn't groundbreaking or anything by any means, but it was still a pretty good E3 conference for sure.
Nintendo's was a definite second for me. While there was a lot of padding, I felt, and there was a lot of things already seen. Multiple games, actually, we've already seen. So we end up seeing it twice or three times in the Nintendo Showcase, or Nintendo Direct, rather. It was still, they had WarioWare, they had Breath of the Wild. They came out with Kazuya Mishima for Smash Bros. And it's like...
You can remember his name, but you can't remember the game he's coming to.
Listen, my brain is still dying. And then we had Metroid Dread.
Yeah.
So and Breath of the Wild. I already said that. But so they just attacked when they needed to attack, because they probably were like, okay, this is gonna start boring people, and throw this out there. Okay, this is gonna bore people. Throw out Mario Golf. All right, cool. People are back. Bore people. Give them Metroid. All right. Yeah. To end it off, let's give them fucking Breath of the Wild. Makes sense. That's why their conference did so well, in my opinion. Whereas other conferences, I'm sure we're about to get into, because the vast majority of conferences we don't got to talk about, because I think, like I said, I'd rather jerk my dad off than ever watch most of those conferences ever again.
Jeez. Dear
God. I brought that back.
Oh boy.
I'm watching the YouTube version of this, and it fucking changed to whatever Jeff's putting on it. I was like, is there going to be a shoot picture of me about to jack someone off?
No, it's just the direct. It's what we're talking about, man. Trying to be legit, dude. Come on.
We are legit. Yes. But yeah, no, so Nintendo definitely kicked ass when it needed to kick ass. And after, I think before we even started this, we all were kind of like this, every conference has to kick ass this year. It has to really fucking hit. And that wasn't the case. And when we actually dive into what we thought of the conference as a whole, I have a lot to say on that. But no, I think Nintendo did great. As someone who's not a big Nintendo guy, it drew me in, got me excited to have my Switch. There's plenty of games I'm excited to play on it. I will never put a Doom game on it, except for the old Dooms. But
Doom 64 probably okay.
Yeah, Doom 64 would probably be okay.
Do you know what the Switch can do? Do you know that it's a touchscreen?
Oh boy, we're doing this, eh?
Sorry, had to get that one in there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, if you want to hear the full recap, we did a full recap episode, so I won't go into it too much. But definitely, I think Nintendo put on a good show. There was, like Nick was saying, highs, lows, kind of all over the place and kind of messed with you. But they did enough highs in there to kind of offset these low points where, it's like things we've already seen or whatever, which while we're watching it, it wasn't super exciting to see something we've already seen again. I mean, that kind of sucks, especially when you've already seen it in this conference. It's not like we'd seen it, we saw the same trailer again. And that to me is a little upsetting.
Literally a day before.
Right. And I'm kind of getting sick of seeing stuff for Monster Hunter Stories right now.
No, what?
Well,
you're the Monster Hunter fan. You can't do that.
But we've also seen like 8 trailers for this game in the last
It's been crazy.
months. It's a little excessive. I get it.
Super excessive.
I'm still excited for this game, but I don't need to see any more trailers before this launches. We're not that far off. But I mean, the addition to Smash is cool. I'm not a Tekken guy, but it's still pretty neat. Metroid. I'm not a huge like 2D guy, or not the 2D Metroid guy, but this looked cool, and it's been 19 years, so maybe I'll give it a go again.
Right.
And there was, Breath of the Wild. Obviously, anybody or just about anybody who plays games on their Switch is probably going to be picking this up because it is one of the best. Breath of the Wild is one of the best-selling games and highest-rated games of all time. Whether that's inflated is personal opinion, but it is still a fantastic game no matter how you look at it.
It was a great journey.
So, many people are excited for that, and I think Nintendo was strong here. Not as strong as Xbox, and not as strong as, I would have hoped to see. This was, it felt more like just a normal Nintendo Direct, to some extent. I don't think there was anything too crazy in here, but it was a good Nintendo Direct, and we've had some lackluster ones as of late, and so this was good to see. Didn't set the world on fire, but
I don't want to set the world on fire.
Am I gonna go, or Evan? Do you want to go? Evan, do you want to?
Evan's not.
I have nothing to say on it.
Right.
If it was good, I trust Brody's opinion, but I didn't watch it.
I think the Nintendo one was a little disappointing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's awful. Like, I thought it was just okay. That was like meh. And the reason why I say that is just like I was expecting more like core Nintendo games beyond just Breath of the Wild 2 to be shown. Like the Mario Party thing, that's cool. But that's just kind of like rehashing, old stuff together, which is great. To be honest with you, I don't think they've really made a good Mario Party for a while. And so the fact that they're going to take kind of the best of all of them and throw them together and do all that shit is fantastic. But, I don't know, like the fact that there's no Mario Kart, there is no like Mario, there was no larger IP to go.
Did
with
you
all, like,
really
a Kirby
expect
or
to
Yoshi.
see it that?
Though? Yeah, I did. I expected
to
see something like that. I expected to see at least one thing like that.
But you also got to remember Japan's like got hit by the
pandemic. I know, but they could
hard.
At least fucking say something. Is what I would have liked, and I understand the ramifications. Like I brought that up with the Xbox one. I get that. Yeah. I still would think that they would at least maybe want to, say, hey, by the way, we're working on a brand new blah 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 and blah blah blah.
I think they're keeping their cards pretty close to their chest after Metroid Prime 4. I think they don't want another situation like that.
Yeah, but Mario, that other stuff is like internal with them. Like that Metroid was shopped out.
Right. But still, I think I actually respect Nintendo for not announcing things. Granted, we have some things that have been announced by Nintendo that are still out. Bayonetta 3 was announced forever ago, but
yeah.
I almost respect them for being... They typically have been kind of sticking with announcing things no further than a year out. Again, there's some exceptions, but I don't know. I didn't expect to see another Mario. I didn't expect to see another Mario Kart.
Did. I expected to see a Mario. I expected, Breath of the Wild 2, but like a more depth and in depth. Like, give us something more of it. Like, I guess they gave us a trailer and shit like that. They gave us some, what could be perceived as gameplay, I guess, maybe. But, give us more details on it. Show us. It's kind of crazy. Also, like, I know last night when we did the recap for Nintendo, we talked about, how the Pokemon Company wants to do something like on its own with the Pokemon Direct. But I really think that, like, what a perfect time for the Pokemon Company to come in as a separate piece as part of this and discuss the new Pokemon game, considering they don't have other shit.
They could have replaced Gearbox. That would have been okay.
Yeah, or do a totally separate show, right? No matter what, if someone's gonna watch the Pokemon shit or whatever, they're gonna say that's still Nintendo. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like most people, because it's gonna come to a Nintendo system. But I don't know. Like they had filler stuff, and then it was the same old stuff with like Switch, where there's a port, coming. Here's a port of this. Here's a port of this. Hey, we're bringing this back.
remaster,
Super Monkey Ball, right? We're bringing all this back to it. That's great. That's cool. However, they've really got to step up the Nintendo IP shit and throw it out there, because now, like, how long is the PS5 and Xbox Series X been out, Brody?
7 months, 8 months, 7
so
8
like,
months.
Let's say for the last 7-8 months, you really haven't had like the showcase of what these systems can do, or the glimpse of like what the future will be. Now that I'm playing Ratchet and Clank on my PS5, and it looks fucking gorgeous, it plays incredible. Okay, I look at the Switch and I'm like, okay, my benefit is I can't play like all the exclusive games are on Switch, the Nintendo IP. The port stuff lasted good for the last 3 years since the Switch has launched. It's been great. They've been able to, keep that and kind of go into this barrier between Xbox One and Xbox Series X, and it's lasted. But now that like you showcase 2042 and Halo Infinite, all this shit, and Ratchet and Clank, for example, like it doesn't stand a fucking chance. And I just feel like
to compete with.
Yeah, it should, like, the graphic thing is no longer like there's no leeway there anymore. So like you either have to announce something new of a new system, updated system, which I don't think they're going to do for a while, or you go heavy on the exclusive IP. And yeah, like Breath of the Wild 2, that's huge. I mean, a lot of people will go buy Switches just to play that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And play the first one, right? Same with Mario Kart. But they got to bring more of that exclusive shit out. And I would have liked for them to do like just sneak peeks at it so that you can get more shit throughout the year, because these guys are going to get so overshadowed when some of this stuff starts hitting for Series X and for PS5.
Right.
I don't know if I fully agree with that. I mean, Switch has been the best-selling game console for like 24 months now in a row. But also I think it would be dumb to announce everything they're working on in one show. I think Metroid Prime,
well, not everything,
or Metroid,
but yeah.
But I mean, you're talking about adding in another Mario and a Mario Kart on top of that.
No. I'm not saying adding. They needed to have Mario Kart and Mario. I'm saying I was stunned that they didn't have another big thing like that, because we already knew about Breath of the Wild 2. We already knew about that.
Right. But it's another look at it, and that hype.
Yeah, but like,
there's enough hype from that to generate. I mean, at the end of that show, people were losing their minds over it. Like, and they didn't even show that much more. Right, but that's all they're catering to.
They lost their mind on
that's
this
what they're
game
catering to.
Yeah, I know, but they also cater to their other fans of other properties like Mario Kart, Mario Odyssey.
And that's why we're getting a Metroid game and a Shin Megami Tensei game.
We're getting 3 big announcements. A made-up Metroid game for the loss of Metroid Prime fuckery.
I think it was already in the works.
Bro, this was... but this was... I feel like this is probably a quick game that they built out.
Probably. It's a Metroidvania game. I mean, you're gonna get what you expect from it, right?
But it's a classic shit.
That is still a return of their, I would call Metroid B tier, right? And then Shin Megami Tensei is kind of not a huge thing, but it's something that's been announced for so long.
Yeah,
it's a big thing. Like, and that will sell exceptionally well in Japan too. So I think if they would have put Mario Kart and Mario in this, or another Mario,
I just want
platformer,
one. I just want one. I don't care if
something.
I still think it. I think it might have been too much, because they do directs. Well, they haven't recently, but they do directs pretty regularly. So they have to have things to pad out these other conferences too. They've got a Mario Golf coming right now. Once Mario Golf releases, that
I can't believe they showed that again. But I also get it from a marketing standpoint. But yeah,
but I mean, once this releases, they're gonna have another space to add in something bigger, and whether it be a Mario Kart or whatever. But they don't have to make a new Mario Kart, because that fucking game keeps selling like crazy.
But Mario Odyssey would be fantastic.
It has the most attachment rating of any game on the Switch by a long shot, and probably one of the best attachment ratings for any game to any console. Yeah. I mean, aside from like Tetris or a pack-in game.
I think the reason though that like why their sales were so high too is never on earth have you been able to coop up an entire family inside their home for 18 months.
This is also true.
And then expect them to try to find new ways of entertainment and can't go outside their house. So people look to like, let's just get a Switch. And they didn't fucking know what it was. And then on top of that, you had Animal Crossing come out, which was a social-based game in some way, shape, or form. But it's just like, my thing is just, I get that they have other directs through the year. I just don't know how the fuck they're not going to get overshadowed by the shit that's coming out to the next gen consoles without continue. I mean, every direct literally this year should have hopefully some sort of big IP. Like I hope that's the strategy that you're talking about, because I just don't know how they're going to get the limelight comparative to the other shit coming out.
They've been doing it for 20 years though. I mean, their consoles are
with
always
hit and miss.
I was one.
Every other console's been like a whatever.
I mean, yeah, GameCube wasn't a huge seller, but I mean, it's looking back on it, it's one of the most beloved consoles. Then you have the Wii, and then the Wii U was a miss, right? Obviously,
yeah.
But the DS, I mean, those
the 17
like
variations of the DS.
Yeah, I was gonna start naming them, and I'm like, fuck it.
Good God, bro, do not name these. Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know, man. I think it was a smart conference because they don't. I think to show off too much would have been a mistake as well, especially if they're not far enough. Yeah, I think it would have been too much, and I think it would have. Now they don't have anything that they can announce in the fall that they're like, oh my God, look, this is coming. Like, I think it's close, or I think it's wise to keep some of that close to their chest until they're a little bit closer to releasing it. Whether because I would imagine we're not getting another Mario game until at least
the next console,
at least next year, late next year.
Next console.
You think next console?
I think they'll finish, dude, the console out with. I think it'll be like their swan
Breath
song.
of the Wild 2.
I think
Breath
they'll
of the
have
Wild 2 is the swan song for the Switch.
They are saying that the Switch is supposed to have a 7-year lifespan, which would put us at 2024. So I would wager that we would have another Mario game before the end of the generation to boost sales near the end, especially if they do another console version, if they ever do, whatever that looks like. I mean, I think that is when we're going to see another Mario game tacked to it.
You know what I was stunned by?
Mario Kart's never going to get fucking made because it just keeps selling and there's no reason.
Damn it, people. Stop buying it. Stop buying it.
They reuse half the assets on it. It'd be one of the easiest fucking games for them to make. And
they just remake a map. Let's make new maps. DLC. Just let people download it. Shit. You know what I was stunned by, though, during it? And like one last little point before we wrap up Nintendo. The fact, and I was appreciative that they didn't do it. The fact that there was no mobile game shit, which is stunning to me because that shit prints money for them.
Yeah.
Like crazy, but I also really appreciated that they didn't do that.
We're also kind of looking at Nintendo as within E3, but Nintendo's never really conformed to E3. They just put out another Direct, and that's kind of what it is.
Well, these
and
are
it's always kind of been that way.
That also showcased Wii Music with a bunch of people
exactly
blowing into Wiimotes. So.
Anything that would make sense for the company to do, they're probably not going to do it. From what we've learned from watching Nintendo for a long time now. I mean,
Nintendo.
The last point of this is there's one slot left for a Smash character. Who's it going to be? Quickly, everybody.
Waluigi. I think it's been a big troll. Run it out through two fighter passes and then finally release him as a just kind of a here you go. It's fucking done.
Max Payne.
I guess if they do a third fighter pass, I don't think Waluigi will be this. I think Waluigi would be the very last character they add because why the fuck not?
John Wick.
Shit.
John Wick.
Are you ready for me to make Ed's blood boil?
I think it'll be Jonesy from Fortnite. And then I think everyone will be like, oh my God, it's not going to be Waluigi. And then
Ninja.
They somehow pull out another slot, even though they've told people only 54 characters. There'll be
like
a 55th, and the 55th will be Waluigi.
Deal,
yeah.
I think the Waluigi will come. And I think it's just some big troll at this point.
Absolutely.
Just
Tracer
because the internet
Overwatch.
wants it, we're not going to give it to them until way later.
Yeah. All right. I guess next Ubisoft. So, interesting conference.
Yeah.
But,
I think it was stronger than I expected from Ubisoft. Now, I'm not saying this lit the world on fire either. This was just I think it was a strong conference from Ubisoft. I think probably stronger than I remember from any Ubisoft conference. And I think there was some good stuff shown off there. Granted, a lot of it I don't know. It was kind of a weird one. It seems like it was so long ago now. I'm having trouble remembering all of it, but I'll pull up a doc here. But I think it was a pretty decent showing. I think it was strong enough to kind of kick off E3, especially when, we really didn't get anything else that day that was too insane either.
Yeah.
So I cool. I mean, decent. I got to pull up the games because I'm completely drawing a blank right now. I mean, I know they showed off the new Mario Rabbids game, which I think is. We talked about this because you weren't here on that show, but I think that game's going to sell so well because the first game like was one that flew under the radar, and then it became like this hidden gem thing, right? And now I think with this second game coming out, I think it's going to do very, very well.
I agree, fully agree on that. However, I don't know if Ubisoft really needs to have an E3 conference.
No, I don't think they do.
To be honest with you, like,
well, I mean, real quickly here, Rainbow Six Extraction was in this too, which looks amazing. They had Rocksmith in there, which looks fantastic. Yep. We got another look at Riders Republic, which looks good, but has all of us concerned.
Microtransactions,
Just Dance, baby. Just Dance.
Microtransactions.
Microtransactions.
It's a fun guy, I know.
But another look at Far Cry 6, which I feel like we're really oversaturated with right now. We've seen what, 5 or 6 different things from Far Cry in the past week.
We saw they had like a couple weeks ago. They had a event where they showed off, I think, a trailer, but most of it was based upon gameplay. And then they had the trailer they showed for Anton for E3, and then they showed, I think, the official reveal, and I think one more. So around 5.
Yeah.
Only one gameplay thing that was been shown.
We had Mario Rabbids and then Avatar to close it out, which from what they showed, it looked cool, but I don't give a shit. I'm going to be real honest. I don't care.
Bro, I'll wait.
Evan's excited.
I'll wait for my turn.
That's all I had to say is I'm excited for that.
I mean, really,
I can talk about the rest of it later.
The tent poles of this show for me were Extraction, Rocksmith, which we were amazed at Rocksmith while they were showing it off.
Yeah.
And Mario Rabbids. I mean, those are the new things that we saw that really looked pretty decent. And I think those were very strong showings. But I don't know. Like, the rest of it is stuff, kind of just another look at it. I mean, Riders Republic looked cool, but I have so many concerns about that game as it stands right now. It's just, it's almost hard to be excited for that game. But yeah, and again, I don't care about Avatar. That movie seems like it was so long ago that I know they're promising another one coming up, but I don't
12 years
care
ago,
about.
Yeah, the new one's been confirmed. The new one's going to come out in 2 years.
They have like 3 more planned.
Yeah, they do. Well, no, they have more than that. They have 6. It's going to be a 7 series.
But I mean, the original idea for Avatar was dreamt up in the 90s. Didn't happen until, you said 12 years ago, so 2009.
Yeah, it was 2009.
And then it was like, the reason it was such a big deal was because it was a technical, just incredible
It was also one of the first 3D films.
Yep, one of the first 3D
So, like,
films.
I mean, part of it is, like, people just went to it because they wanted to experience 3D films, you know? Like, you could have made fucking Free Willy in 3D and people would have went to see it and just be like, oh my God, I want to see shit in 3D, you know? So it's, I mean...
Right.
I'm concerned about to see, like, I think the next Avatar in theaters will do very well.
Yeah, it's next year.
Just because, you know,
supposedly
it's there. But the one after that, I don't see it being a big franchise.
They've already finished filming, or I think they've finished filming 2. So that's all post-production stuff now, and it's set for December 16th of next year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then they have the third one, which I believe has been... They're making 2 and 3. I think they were made side by side, but it hasn't been confirmed that 3 is done yet. It's probably not. And then after that, if those make enough money, they're going to make 4 and 5. So they're not going to make the whole series they want if people don't see 2 and 3. I think I'm going to go see it. I liked 1, but I liked 1 because it just was beautiful. I didn't give a shit about seeing it in 3D. I didn't care for that.
Right.
I just thought it was beautiful, and I was like, oh, this is really good. And I mean, I'm not a huge Avatar fan. Like, I like the movie, and I remember the game that came out for Xbox 360 that was not that great. But I played through that a little bit. But this looks cool. I mean, it's interesting. I think it looks beautiful. It's different, right? It's not a shooter. It's not just some platformer.
We don't even really know what the fuck it is.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and so like
the
that's
game
kind of
is.
that's what interests me about it. I think that'll be really cool. But
yeah, I don't know. I found this an interesting conference. I mean, maybe this just further proves that like E3 doesn't, I don't know, really need to like happen anymore, and they can just do their own directs and stuff like that. But like E3 to me is supposed to be you show off your new shit, and I get that they showed like Avatar is new. I get that. To have a massive segment on Riders Republic was a little weird. I mean, honestly, considering that they've showed off a decent amount beforehand, they did a bunch of stuff as well on that. Then it got fucking delayed. And then, you know, I'm glad they went into it, but they could have probably had like a separate event for it, to be honest with you.
We still don't even have an official release date for that, but it's open for pre-order.
Riders Republic? Yeah, 2nd of September. September 2nd, 2021 is the release date. So Riders Republic was cool to get more information on that, right? Extraction, it looks really cool. That's great. Rabbids, I totally think it's going to sell like hotcakes, like you said, Brody. Absolutely. I mean, that's people aren't going to miss out the second time around on that, and then that series is just going to keep going. I think for the next unforeseeable future.
It's the only tolerable way to actually experience Rabbids.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, Just Dance, whatever. Rocksmith Plus, that's huge. That's what's really cool. That's huge for two reasons. They're updating a product that's only going to get better. And two, this is like the first case of like a video game company providing a service for learning.
Yeah.
And expanding beyond their business. You know, like most video game companies, it's either, you know, hey, we built an engine and we're going to give it for free. And then if you make, you know, $10,000 off your game after that, we're going to take a percentile amount off your profits. Or it's like, you know, the Game Pass stuff, which, you know, Ubisoft already has their own subscription service, but to actually like come out with a actual dedicated service for teaching something. I mean, they're doing Rocksmith. Imagine how many things they're going to come out with as a company like that can do, you know, teachable services.
Yeah.
I mean,
they could do a piano smith.
Yeah,
and a keyboard
smith. They could do a bunch of different shit.
DJ Smith.
They could do like singing stuff. They could do. I mean, the sky's the limit, and it goes even beyond instruments, right? So that's cool.
It's also a form of sustainable income for the company.
Yeah.
In a market where they might not exceed typically. I mean, while you know some people are not big video game players, they would pick up Rocksmith because now it's not just tied to a gaming console either. Yep. Now it is also tied to your phone.
Super smart.
It was very, very smart the way this was created. And I mean, hats off to whoever came up with this idea here, because it's great.
They, when did they announce it? They said, trying to find the little news thing I saw. April 3rd of last year is when they said, big news today. We're done with Rocksmith 2014. They said we had 383 weeks of DLC releases, which brought us to a total of 1,570 songs. We cannot be telling you, we can't tell you what we're doing next, but it is surprising, and we will show you what's to come soon. And then, they showed it off. And I mean, I exceeded my expectations. I didn't think it was going to be a subscription-based service. I thought it was going to be something where you could pick a song, like you could play a song off your phone on Spotify, or you could pick that song in Rocksmith, and then it would create a tab for you on the spot, and you could learn it. But that would be kind of absurd.
It'd probably be hit or miss on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, but this is insane. You have 50 songs a week is I think their goal, which would not be surprised. I believe they could totally do that.
That's so much work.
The only thing I'm concerned about with that is that I could see them. They're going to have a lot of songs to choose from, but a lot of the music I listen to is from the most popular bands of their time, which I think is just like the thing. Like, I can't imagine them. I'd be amazed if they got a Beatles song, just because of how much that costs.
Yeah,
like to get I can't imagine them getting that. I can't imagine them getting something from like Pink Floyd. I mean, I could see some people going, yeah, but like I could also see a lot of people just going no. And for whatever reason. But I mean, that's the thing is maybe they will get more songs because then they can show those people that like, hey, this is a learning tool. So if you want people to learn your music,
these are
guess
also
what? This is the way to do it.
Filthy rich companies with, like, I mean, video game companies are not what they used to be, where it's you put out a one-hit wonder thing and then, you move on and then it's all hit-driven stuff. I mean, they already have a sustainable subscription model with Ubi, right? Play.
Right.
And so you take the subscription money from that, you make another subscription service, and then you double dip on that. You make a higher tier on Ubi Play with it eventually. And I mean, there's a lot of money there.
And they could also tell a lot of those other companies for like getting the licensing rights of like the Beatles, John Mayer, whoever, right? They could just say like, hey, people want to play this person's music, and if it's not added into the game, they're just going to do it themselves. So like, if you want to get something out of it, right? Like, then we'll get the licensing rights off you, so you make some cash, and then we'll just put your song in here. Otherwise, people are just going to steal it. They're just going to do it because that's what people did for Rocksmith 2014. There was a whole website. You just type in a song, and if somebody had done it, you could just download it. They were usually pretty shitty, but like there were some that were really good. There was one guy who dedicated himself to doing all Led Zeppelin songs, and they were all very good. So it's like, if you guys had just given them the licensing rights, which I mean, there's probably other reasons for that and that I won't go into. I don't know everything about that, but I mean, it works out. I mean,
just programming that for Stairway to Heaven sounds like hell.
It actually, you know what the funny thing was, is I downloaded that. It was perfect. Like note for note in Rocksmith, this dude, everything was right. But then it's cool too. They have Rocksmith Workshop, so they're going to have a bunch of pre-licensed songs. Yeah, probably. They're going to have a bunch of pre-licensed songs that people can create their own arrangements for. So if somebody wants to recreate, Hurt by Johnny Cash, they can go in and create their own arrangement that's more complicated, or they can make it like it's just a whole bunch of arpeggios the entire, all these other things. And also, I think that's going to be pretty sweet.
If there was ever a case for, there's so many video game companies trying to do this, but if there was ever a case for another video game company to go public, it would be Ubisoft at this point. For sure. So after
this, absolutely.
Yeah, I could definitely see them going public on this and then just raising a shit ton of capital and then just continuing on with it. On the Avatar stuff, I don't know. I hope this Avatar game is just like a linear story. It's not going to be. It's going to be an open world because people want to see
They've already said
Pandora.
It's an open world.
Yeah, that just sucks. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe the next movie's gonna really change stuff, but I don't know. I mean, like, how much do you want to walk around in a forest as a blue person, and just like rip around as an Navi?
I mean, I'm sure there's a market for, like, I think that'd be kind of sweet just because it's different, right? I mean,
this is from the studio behind The Division as well, by the way.
Yeah. So like that's
going
to
be a very small open world.
We'll see. I mean, they might
hit
it
be
out of the
half
park,
the size of the map that they told us. Oh shit.
I don't know. I think, again, when I think of open world games, the open world games I think of that come to mind right away are GTA 5, which is normal open world, right? It's just Los Angeles. Red Dead Redemption 2, pretty sweet. That was a great game. I thought in terms of open world aspects, it was pretty interesting. Kept things flowing, and like there were cool random encounters and stuff. And it was also, people like, cowboys in the Wild West. It works well for that. And then the other one is Cyberpunk 2077. Dumpster fire. Don't even have to cover it. And so like this, I think, is just kind of really different from all those.
Okay, so this is blue people in a massive forest with other
all these different
interesting
animals.
Blue animals, and then some people in mechs.
Yeah, I mean,
no buildings.
That's
caves.
fine.
Oh,
I have trees.
They have formations of some sort.
They live in.
It's fine.
They live in like this underground tree.
On your comment about the world not being massive, I'm okay with that. I'm sick of huge open worlds. They're exhausting and they're usually empty and it's not enjoyable.
No, I agree with you. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if it's huge, it's going to feel empty, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it's got to be. I would much rather have a smaller open world like The Division than I would something like. I mean, Assassin's Creed.
But is that just because Ubisoft
Valhalla
is bad at that?
Massive.
It might be.
No,
'Cause,
it's not even that. Like I'm over giant open worlds. I really am. They're exhausting. They're daunting. I don't enjoy it.
I mean, I think this is just obviously my own opinion, but the best open world to me is by far and away Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, everything in there is just.
I think the difference on that is because there's such a difference in terrain on Red Dead Redemption 2 that
you have the snow and you have the desert.
Like Grand Theft Auto 5,
swamps and all that
has
stuff.
decent differences, but like at the end of the day, it's still it's made for the for the state of California. Like you have the northern part of it that has more of the redwoods and shit. Then you have the south, which is going to take you to like what you said, Los Angeles, and more Central Florida or Central California, but. I mean,
Rockstar also put so much personality into that world too, though. I mean, like,
you
could go off the beaten path and find, like, I mean, granted, there was a mission that took you to this place, but there's so many different places that were interesting. You could go up and you'd find out like a new little tidbit of story or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was so much crazy stuff going on. I remember I went off the beaten path from like a main mission, and I ended up stumbling across like a shed. And there was like a girl locked inside the shed, and she was just losing her fucking mind.
Yeah,
like what is this? Mm-hmm. Or if you go, there was like certain like masks and stuff you could find around the world too, and like one of them was in this just real sketchy looking fucking area, and like the whole like everything around it was like a witch was living there and stuff. Like they put so much personality and creativity into the worlds that they create, whereas Ubisoft isn't usually as strong in that realm.
Ubisoft is like node based. It's just like
everybody you find is giving you a quest, whereas in Red Dead, like you said, I mean, there was stuff you just found that was just random. There was no story, or like there was story there, and that was it. There wasn't anybody to talk to, and there wasn't somebody that was like, "Oh, you found me here. Aliens landed here. Go pick up these 5 things at the store in Saint Denis and come back here." It's like you never met anybody that did that. You just kind of were like, "Oh, okay, like this is what's going on." I mean, that's the thing though, is I think they just pull it. Rockstar by far and away just does open worlds, I think, better than anybody else.
That's like the Disneyland. That's like the gem, the blue chip, the standard.
GTA 6 is like they took that shit to 11.
Insane.
They filed a patent. I think I told you guys about this. They filed like the software patent. Yeah, so that way everybody drives differently. It's like that's just incredible. And then can you take that, and then you also add in Red Dead Redemption 2 being able to greet or insult everybody you meet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now somebody can drive shittily, and I can get out of my car and I can, swear at them, pull them out, punch them in the face, and then drive off or something. Like, that's just cool.
Well, Ubisoft too also does like they do like their main story stuff, like in a big expansive open world, and then they kind of just get lost in this node mode where it's like, okay, cool, we're just gonna scatter dots all over the map, and it's gonna be the same style of thing, and that's what's gonna fill our map. And like, don't get me wrong, GTA does that too, as well. Like,
absolutely.
But they also intertwine things. Well, because when you're also playing it, there's shit that just happens that comes up. Like if you're in Red Dead Redemption 2 and you're just sitting there, messing around or riding your horse out, all of a sudden there's a pack of coyotes, right? That just like right beside you, shit like that. That doesn't happen in Ubisoft stuff. You're just like you're just walking to the next node. Got this done. Oh, look, this one randomly appeared, but it's the same, same style of mission, just a different payout or a different name.
So desperately wants to be one of these developers who are known for their open worlds. They want this, and I really think.
I mean, they Avatar, but it's probably not for the reasons they want.
It's not for the reasons they want. Yeah,
it's not. So with Avatar, I think this is their chance. Yeah, this could be their chance to really go. Listen, let us try this. Do I think it's going to work? Yes and no. I think this has a high chance of fail, but it also could be a really fucking cool game. It has the potential to be really cool. But stacking up against a company like Rockstar, there's no way. There's no way Ubisoft will ever be able to touch them. Rockstar is leaps and bounds and leagues ahead of a company like Ubisoft. Ubisoft will never catch up to a company like Rockstar. It's just not possible. And for a game like Avatar to come out with Ubisoft, it's a very bold move to give that IP to Ubisoft to make an open world, considering what we've gotten from Ubisoft. So
I almost can't imagine. Yeah, I almost can't imagine anybody else making it though. I mean, if it was gonna go anywhere, Ubisoft is
Avatar?
probably who. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm maybe an EA.
Yeah.
EA fucks up big times too.
Yeah, for sure. But I just mean it from like you gotta look at like Anthem. Those pretty cool landscapes that they built out.
Yeah,
but
BioWare probably would have done a decent job on it.
I think BioWare is busy with the new Mass Effect.
Yeah,
I feel like they probably couldn't take it. I don't know who else would take it.
I also don't think a lot of people want to fucking touch it. To be honest with you, it sounds stupid. I know that Disney World has like a whole fucking Avatar, like Pandora Land or whatever it is. Here's the thing: Disney World
it lends itself well to that. I mean, that's kind of neat to see in person when you take your kids to fucking Disneyland, I guess. But I mean.
I just don't think it's as big as like people are gambling on it being or sustaining. Like I said, I think people are gonna go see the second one because like I remember seeing that when I was younger, and it was the big thing because it was in 3D for the first time. And then they're gonna go see the second one in 3D, and they're like, "Wow, this 3D sucks, asshole." Because now we don't do that anymore, or we try not to in movie theaters, or we definitely don't do 3D TVs at home.
That's funny you mentioned that.
I think it's very much going to go the realm of most things that have tried to be brought back after over a decade.
I mean, no, that's what I'm saying. I said people are going to enjoy it. I'm saying people are going to like the second one, but they're going to hate the third.
I'm 100% agreeing with you, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, exactly that. People are going to come watch the second one, third one's going to peter out.
Yeah, and then I don't think they'll make a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, or whatever.
It depends on how much 2 makes. If 2 makes a lot of money and 3 kind of doesn't do that very well.
Thing to. I mean,
they'll definitely make the third one for sure, no matter what.
Well, they're making 2 and 3 regardless. But then they said if 2, but like that's what I'm saying is like if 2 makes a lot of money, then they probably would find the reason to go for 4 and 5. But like,
gotcha.
That's the thing, right? Like maybe 2 makes a whole bunch of money, and then in the process leading to 3,
it's such a stupid movie. It's just Pocahontas. Does anybody realize that?
Yeah.
It's Pocahontas fucking the blue people, bro.
Yeah. Blue people and weird
you seem to be coming at this really hard. Have they hurt you?
No, I just think it's a stupid movie, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say, what happened?
I think it's a dumb movie. I think
E3 touched Jeff inappropriately. He's not having any of it.
It's just the hype of like, I just don't believe the James Cameron shit where he's like, I wanted to build this, but the technology wasn't there. And then all of a sudden, also at the same time, like the movie was fucking done. And then they redid it for better animation. Okay, cool, great. But he also released it right when 3D films were coming out.
Right.
Coincidence? I don't fucking know.
No.
Speaking of...
what was Lieutenant Dan in this movie?
What? No. I don't think so. Speaking of 3D,
Life is like a box of novels.
James Cameron stated that there was a possibility that Avatar 2 could be shown in glasses-free 3D. Although that's not entirely
so there you
certain.
fucking go. Again.
He says a possibility. He didn't say it was confirmed.
No, he's going to fucking do it because that's the only fucking way people are going to go see his movie. Okay? It can't be, boy, I'm going to go take a watch of Avatar.
I'll have you know,
hey,
Jeffrey
you can
James.
smell the Navi's swamp ass. You know,
that's 4D.
Check it out. Smell-o-vision coming. I mean, fuck.
You know what
man.
I'm excited
Get your
for?
dimensions straight.
Titanic.
Yeah, it's
in the D box.
Bro, imagine a Titanic video game.
They have that.
But imagine one like where you start out and it almost turns like Telltale, but then it turns into like an action game where like you're trying to fucking like I'm talking Titanic movie where like people like it's sinking and you can see fuckers flying off the fucking boat and they hit the propeller. You know?
Do you think the sex scene is a QTE?
Yeah.
Do I think the what?
Do you think the sex scene is going to be a QTE?
I don't think they would.
No.
Why would they make a video game based upon like just following the movie? That just doesn't make any sense.
No, they follow the actions
draw someone like a French girl.
I'm just pointing to the movie. I mean, were you there when it sank, Evan?
No, as far as I know.
Did they have fucking cameras when it sank?
That was a long time ago.
No, they did not. It probably didn't sink. Conspiracy theory.
It probably didn't even sink. Yeah, it didn't. There we go. It didn't even sink.
The Titanic was actually abducted by aliens.
No.
They'd already decapitated his character. If you look at his
you fucking started this.
I think people exist on the internet that would get sensitive about us making a fake conspiracy about the Titanic, but also it's happened so long ago, and there's really not that much documentation on it, like film-wise.
I guarantee you, most people nowadays don't even know that it was there.
Bro, people get upset. People say that we're insensitive for fucking.
I guess we are. Who knows?
The band falling off the fucking ass of the ship or whatever into the ocean. I mean, they hit a fucking iceberg.
They are the real G's. They played until that shit was in the water.
They did.
Can I say one thing? Can I please say one thing?
No.
Please, let me say one thing, please.
No. No, you're done.
Please.
No
Say
more
it.
conspiracy
promise.
theories.
I
Let Nick
promise.
speak. It's a free country.
God.
All right. Leonardo
You're just-
DiCaprio's character actually had a burn mark in the shape of a triangle, and in the triangle you could see 3 dots,
I'm getting
predator
whiskey.
dots. You know what I'm saying? Leonardo DiCaprio's character was abducted by an alien on the Titanic. Therefore, the Titanic.
Don't make me get whiskey at this
iceberg.
point in the show.
Yeah.
You're gonna need it. The iceberg was actually
Okay,
a
keep going,
mothership.
Okay.
It was a mothership.
Okay. I got
The
you.
door was Leo's template into Dante's Inferno.
Checks out, dude.
Thank
Are
you.
you aware that you're talking sometimes, or you just
And
kind
the
of
band, the band was playing Dante's Inferno ritual song in order to open the gates
so they
of hell.
summoned the Divine Comedy into life at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My theory was that it never sank. That it just broke through the iceberg, and then everyone made a big story to make it sound cool.
I'm saying Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage was also there.
I
He
feel
was
like there's
also in
proof
search
that's not
of
how that went down, but
you should have seen it.
the Declaration of Independence sank with the Titanic.
So, I think Ubisoft did a pretty decent job of showing off this Werewolves Within, even though nobody knows.
Oh
what
my
the fuck
god, I
this
didn't even
IP
get
is.
to that. That was so fucking dumb.
It is dumb, but
It looks like an awful movie or TV show, whatever it is.
It looks like
It's a movie.
a pretty standard comedy fucking show in these days and ages.
Bro, it looks like the comedy DVD that you find in like the $3 bin at fucking Walmart, bro.
Which
like
is
the
probably still
college
going to be
rules,
more.
and it's
I
like the
think Jeff
shitty
just has a
It
American
will
problem
still
with
Pie.
be more entertaining than Avatar or the
Agreed.
next Fast and Furious
all right,
movie.
all right.
Can I
come on,
watch
let's
it in
relax.
3D without glasses though?
All right, let's relax.
I
let's
would
stop.
rather watch this than 90% of the shit that
Stop.
gets put out every year. But they also showed off the end
Evan,
of
you
Mystic
like Werewolves
Quest, I guess.
Within?
No, I'm not. No, but I'm saying it's probably not going to be better than Avatar. That was.
Bet it will. I
This
fucking
man
love
is
it.
outlandish.
No,
We just are we able to
these
come with the
claims,
movie?
these claims are outlandish, and I do not stand by them.
Yeah, we're done with you. I thought
We
it was
were
disappointing
doing
at
so
best.
fucking good. But they also
And then
showed
Nick
off
had to
the
start
end
talking.
of Mythic Quest, even though it's coming to an end like this week, next week, something like
Yeah,
that for this
but that's
season.
a good show.
So
I like that.
it is very good. I'm surprised you don't hate that like everything else at E3.
Wow,
That was
Kotaku.
nice, Brody.
Wow,
Birdie, say sorry.
wow.
Jesus.
Video game Twitter much? Wow.
No.
I mean, I'm right there with if Jeff really hates everything at E3 or most.
I don't hate
I'm right
everything
there
at
with him.
E3. I think it's
haven't
just a
been much
subdued
positive.
E3 because of unfortunate events. And
I
I would
just
have
say it
liked to
was a
see something
series.
else, but
A series of unfortunate
You can stop.
events
You need to-
starring
you need to
Jim
relax.
Carrey.
oh, I love. Don't even get me started on a series of unfortunate events. Fantastic book
so good.
series.
Okay, so what if we had to give like? I mean, oh wait, did you want to do letter grades at the end? That's what you want to do. Sorry, I was going to ask if.
Oh,
anybody
we
had a
still
letter
got
grade.
shit though.
probably
We got
just
PC
do it.
gaming show, bro.
We
No,
don't
I mean
need
for
to fucking-
Ubisoft.
We're going to grade this E3 as a whole. I think.
Yeah,
right?
we already gave
Oh.
letter grades in the recap.
Yeah, we're just going to grade this as a whole at the end. So we kill off a good.
Do we have
45
anyone
minutes,
else
an
other
hour
than
of
Nintendo, Xbox, and Ubisoft? We
Not anything really worth talking about. Out of the rest of the shows, I think Future Gaming Show was probably one of the better ones left.
I liked Devolver.
I didn't watch Devolver. I will say
It was
that.
fun. It was
The
fun.
Devolver
Devolver
was
Digital
pretty crazy
Cinematic
shit.
Universe.
There was six games showed off or whatever, but
Everything
there's-
in between that was edging me, and then Devolver finally let me release. So
there was a bunch of like.
Nice.
Dude, that
really-
was like the first day. You had Ubisoft,
exactly,
Square Enix, and then Gearbox and Devolver.
I've been edging for quite a while, bud.
No, you haven't. Shut up.
This episode sponsored to you by Baldo.
No,
Oh, dude.
it's
no.
not. We can't make false claims of sponsorship.
All right. Anyways, back to the DDCU.
Dick.
I didn't watch
Damn.
it. I didn't watch the newest installment of the DDCU. So, what did you guys think of it? The Devolver
liked it.
Digital Cinematic Universe.
um,
I liked it. That's there you go. That's from Nick. Everybody else.
I
go on.
liked it. It was fucking weird, but I liked it. It's always weird.
Yes,
though, every year.
Devolver in a nutshell, really.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but
PC
I know that's
gamer.
how they are.
PC gaming show.
We
We're
can't
not
do
doing
this.
Again.
Yeah, we're not letting him go over it because he'll just cry for 45 minutes. I
PC
don't wanna
gaming
listen to
show
it.
was our look into the future of the Avatar game.
The PC gaming show was watching all the kids who were getting their Dino Nuggets made cry about Gabe Newell not having anything
I
important
got
to say
as
for the
much
55th time.
entertainment out of the PC gaming show as I will with Avatar.
Because
I
you
got more-
watched it in a car and watched me cry.
I got plenty of enjoyment from the PC gaming show because of Nick being sad.
That
true. Was my highlight.
Yeah.
Did you see my reaction when the fat man showed up?
Yeah, you were like
you
a
were
kid
standing
on Christmas.
on your chair.
Then,
I was worried for your safety. I was like, this guy's gonna hit his fucking head off the desk and pass out.
wouldn't that be something? Right when game shows up, he hits his head on his desk. Boom! He doesn't get to see it.
He's gonna slip on the chair.
Brody's sitting here going, "I hate my co-hosts."
I think he's falling asleep.
We're good.
Shit.
I will say that the PC gaming show was terrible, and also the indie showcase. There were a bunch of people that were talking real highly of that. It fucking sucked. There wasn't a single game there that I was interested in.
It was PC Gaming Show Part 2.
Yeah, it was 100% PC Gaming Show Part 2, and I made a joke about that, and I think it fell pretty flat, but it very much was that.
I believe you.
Probably because it was actually fucking reality.
Can we talk about Take-Two?
Take-Two wasn't even like a conference, right?
Can we
it was
take
just a
two?
panel.
Can we take two to talk about Take-Two for a second?
Do you want me to?
I don't like any of this.
Say my famous line about Take-Two?
No, I want to say something, but I'm not like I don't want to be rude about it. I just want to like actually like talk about this because I think it's something that like needs to be talked about. I think it's kind of crazy.
I did not watch it. I can't comment on any of it.
Okay.
I mean, we talked about it a little bit on
but we're just like we shit on it a bit, and it's like I understand like where they're coming from with it, having it, but I also like what you said, bro. It's just not like the audience to do it.
Just say I didn't shit on it. Don't get me fucking canceled here, fella.
We're not gonna get just chill.
I don't think any of us shit on it, but I think we all had the same general idea. This was not the place to do this.
Yeah.
I watched E3, and I watch E3 every year to see new video games, to see new hardware, to see what is going to be coming out in the industry.
See Gabe Newell.
Yeah, not say anything important. No, I think what I'm trying to say, or what I was going to say before a fight breaks out, is maybe that was their mentality on it. Though was that so many people that they're trying to speak to are going to be watching this. So maybe this is the best time to do it. Is to do it when like, everybody is going to be watching it. Because I mean, could you imagine if they just went on their Twitter and said we're going to be hosting a panel in August? Or some random time.
They said it right before the show started. They said there's no games coming.
Right. Well, yeah.
I saw something that somebody said they saw it weeks before, I guess, but I never saw anything about that. It was always like, "Hey, Take-Two's here. They're going to be there for like an hour," and then like 30 minutes before you see the tweet, and you're like, "Oh, fuck."
But like that's what I'm saying is I don't think they could do it at a random time, and because they wouldn't get nearly as nobody would pay attention because they're going to go Take-Two. Who makes like what do they?
Nobody watched it anyway. I mean, could watch thousands of people leave it after like 10 minutes. So I mean, regardless, it's the same thing.
I figured their chances.
Higher,
they probably figured their chances were higher, right? Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason I think they did it.
I think they wanted to do like good things. However, like I really don't understand how, in like both the industry and then also like the community as a whole, why this is pressed so often. Not that it's pressed, just why it's pressed so much and like continually kind of like rammed down people's throats. Because working in the industry, it's an incredibly diverse and open industry. I've worked for a couple different companies, and then in the community, generally speaking, like the actual gaming community, like gamers, not just people who play COD or something like that, and are on voice chat and say something terrible because they're, wherever, like pretty accepting community. And so it's like, I mean, I get bringing it up, but like, it's kind of like akin, like if you had a boss and your boss asks you to do something and like, it's a good idea. I mean, like everyone can agree that like, racism is awful and, like it's good to have inclusion of people and their skills and talents and not base anybody off of like their race or religion or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, it's kind of at this point, especially on like the game side of stuff, as if like your boss told you to do something, you agree to do it because it makes sense to do it, and then every like minute they keep asking you if you're doing it, and I think it has a hindrance. I don't think it has an opposite effect at all. I don't think like people go, okay, now I'm going to be racist because I'm hearing this all the time, but I think it just becomes more tone deaf in the frequency that they do it, because it's not just them. Like throughout E3 there was a lot of that stuff. I mean, Verizon had a section of that. Ubisoft had a section of that. They had a section of that in the showcase stuff later on for Xbox, and a showcase later on also with Nintendo. And it's just like, I don't know. I just think it's like you're just kind of like throwing the same thing all the time at people, and I think that you're not going to get the attention to it. And I think like there's like, I totally agree with you, Evan. I mean, like, they probably saw the opportunity and are like, okay, cool. Like, when are we going to get, tens of thousands of people to pay attention to us on something like this?
Yeah.
But it's also like, I guarantee you tens of thousands of people that are watching that have already heard this stuff.
Yeah.
Either the days before an E3 or for the last couple of months or years that this has started to really like pick up as an issue, as a topic. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those things that, like you said, it gets said quite often as of late, because it almost feels like some companies are just using that as a, hey, look at me. To some extent, I'm not saying that's how this was, but there's a lot of marketing that is very much that way. Just like how all of these companies changed their logos to a rainbow flag during Pride Month. Like,
exactly.
Most of these companies don't give a fuck. Let's be really honest. Like, they do, but
marketing
they don't.
For them.
Like, it's marketing for them. Hey, we changed this logo to this. That's at a certain point, it almost feels
disingenuous,
pandering. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just. I mean, granted, with the year we had last year, with all of the racial issues that were pushed more to the forefront than they had been, yeah, I mean, because we've been slowly improving as a human race, right? Like, slowly. Not saying we're making leaps and bounds, because there's still shitty fucking people out there, and there always will be. But we are improving as a human race. And and after last year, with everything that happened, it makes sense to have these talks and stuff. But yeah, it does feel like we've had a lot of these talks, and it was a very, very big touching point throughout this entire E3. And I'm not saying it doesn't deserve to be, but it felt disingenuous. It felt weird.
I feel like this was a very important thing to have. Jokes aside, obviously we made jokes during our episode, right? But like, to be honest, and to put my haha aside, this was an important thing to do. Do I think maybe during E3 was the best time for them? They probably thought so, but you also have to look at this is being streamed, and I'll get to like the points they made and how I do think what they said was very important. I think what they did throughout their conference and how they're presenting themselves as a company and saying, we want everybody to feel included, not just the gamers, but everyone who works for us, everyone who is a content creator for us, developer, everybody in this industry and everyone in general should feel included and not ever be afraid to be them, and you should be proud to be who you are. That's phenomenal. That is great. And I agree with that 100%. I'm very firm in my beliefs with that. You should not be afraid to be you, and you should be proud of who you are no matter what. Creed, sex, all of that. You should be proud of who you are no matter what. I just think that they may have, and I'm sure it was a concern, like, okay, we're going to be on YouTube, we're going to be on Twitch, we're going to be here, and these are hotbeds for shitheads to hop in. And, good on them for still doing it, right?
Yeah, the YouTube chat was a shit show. Just an absolute fucking shit show.
Well, they posted the video too, and the amount of dislikes was so high or whatever. But like, the problem is that people like take that as like, oh, look at all these racist people with the thumbs down. But like, when your only option is a thumbs up and a thumbs down, and not a thumbs down, but I'm also not racist option.
Would I watch this again?
It doesn't.
No. I wouldn't watch it again.
I understand what you're saying, but the way you said it.
Well, you know what I mean,
sounds
right?
Like when somebody starts out a sentence, they're like, not to be racist, but like, that's exactly.
No, I know.
And then they're going to say some fucked up shit.
But like, that's also the thing too, right? Like, the whole topic itself of just inclusion or anything, it's a complete ultimatum standpoint. Right. I mean, if someone comes online and just none of us here are racist, okay, at all.
Yeah.
At all. And that's by complete just knowing each other and having hours of fucking discussion now, even just as we. But like, it's like
the likes on the panel are 4.6 thousand. The dislikes are 11,000. And yeah, most of the comments are just like, this is the worst E3 panel in history. There's a time, a place, and all this other kind of stuff. But again, I mean, how many of these people are thinking the same thing like I said, which is, what? Okay, so there's a time and a place. Where's the time and a place?
The problem is like it's like it's not just like it's a time and place. I think it's just like people are tired of like having the same lecture. To be honest with you, Evan, it's like.
Well, I get that, but I also get then that there's the other side is like, well, we can't stop talking about it until people actually will listen.
Like,
and I mean,
act on it.
I guess, but like, where's the metrics of acting on it? Like, that's my other problem too. Is like, there's like, it's like the people are taking. There's like 20 ways to skin a cat, but then it's like no one's measuring a KPI on it, and then that's where it goes to Brody's thesis on some of the stuff, where it's also like, it comes off as disingenuous, and it just honestly comes off, and like when it comes from a company, it just seems like it's a giant legal thing. Like it's like we're gonna do this so that if something fucking comes out. Well, we said we're inclusive, or we're just going to appear really good from a marketing standpoint. I mean, if it came from like the actual, if they had like a side panel, the way to have done this was they had people there who were representing like different organizations. If they just had a panel that had Take-Two's name away from it, and it just had people representing organizations, and it was open about what the topic was, then it would be fine. But the problem is it wasn't.
Open E3 panel.
You advertised it as a
You advertised it as something else, and then you came up and told people what it was right before it was going to start.
A half hour before it started.
A half hour
publisher
in between two large publishers.
GTA, mind you.
Yeah, in between a bunch of other publishers and developers showing their shit. So then the cognitive sense is, I'm going to see this stuff. And then, I mean, essentially you baited people into going to view it. And like I said, I mean, I'm sure the substance of it has merit. Yes. There's value to it. Yes. But it's just like the execution of it was poor. And then I think just like throughout the entire E3 stuff, through all 4 days, there was at least something every day about inclusion or equality or, stuff that fit in with like, Pride Month and stuff like that, which is great. But it's like, again, how many times is someone going to, say this to you or whatever? And it's like, it's just the same thing over and over again. And then again, I don't think it's going to make people go, well, now I'm going to be racist because I hear this all the time. But I think it's going to make people go, I just don't want to hear it.
I agree with you. I'm looking just through the comments as you were talking about that. Most of the people are just saying the same bullshit, where it's just like,
yeah,
why aren't they talking about games? And it's like, but it's not. They pointed out that there would be no games, and if you look at the fucking calendar, it says Take-Two Interactive Panel, which when I saw panel, I never thought of games. I never thought they'd.
I thought of developers talking about a panel, like being like, "What are you working on? What are you creating?
Right?
How do you make this?"
I heard.
I guess
that's just that's me. That's my opinion, yeah.
I think my thing is, why is it got to be tied to Take-Two? Because most of the people that were talking were not even from Take-Two.
So was it sponsored or paid for by them?
It must have been sponsored by them, I guess.
I'll see if I can find it.
I think the main like leader of the Zoom call was from Take-Two, if I remember correctly.
There was a couple of Take-Two employees in there.
Yeah, I mean, one of them looked like he was gonna fall asleep though. Like, yeah. I mean,
he was stretching.
It was and he didn't talk at all the entire time. It was just, I don't know. There was just something about it that felt pandering and very disingenuous that made it kind of feel gross. Like, I love the message behind it. It's fantastic. I love to see it. And there's so many great organizations that have come up around this idea, but I don't know, man. I just don't like when a company is the one that heads it up, because it just feels weird. It doesn't feel. I mean, it's no different in my mind than
personable at all.
Well, or it's no different in my mind when Riot had all their issues, and then they're like, "Well, we're doing this, and we're doing this, and this, and this." And it's like you're doing this so you don't get fined. It's like the Marshawn Lynch, like, I'm here so I don't get fined. And I don't. If you're gonna do it, it needs to feel genuine. Yeah. If you're gonna do this, it needs to feel genuine. It needs to have the heart behind it. And Like, yeah, if you look at the schedule, that's fine. But some people didn't look at the schedule. They just saw Take-Two was presenting and they felt trapped into it. And that's why, or tricked into it. And that's why there's so many dislikes. I agree. The panel's cool, but I think it should have been under just E3 as a whole. Should have been an E3 panel on equality or something like that. The Take-Two thing is where my major catch is at.
I got you. I mean, like I'll say too, I agree with the message behind it, and I agree with a lot of that stuff, and I agree as well. Like what I think Jeff you said, where there's no metric behind people are being less of this or this in video games, right? And like I understand that I'm sure there people are tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing it because I agree with the shit already, so I'm tired of hearing it as well.
Yeah,
right. Like I'm like my shit's already
board,
set.
Why are
I'm
you
already
getting
on board.
That almost, you know?
Yeah, and it's like that's again like, but I understand as well, which is not saying that you guys don't. I know you guys do as well,
right?
But I understand that like. On their end, it's got to be one thing of like we got to keep talking about it because once we stop talking about it, people might forget about it. I mean,
well, I think it's more people get angry. They don't keep talking about it, which is a problem, though.
I mean, no, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I think as well. Like you said that like most like communities of gamers that you've encountered, you said are not that bad.
Yeah, but that's my experience. But I mean,
I play fucking shooters. Everybody's mean to each other.
Oh yeah. But like, and I think half of that is just trying to get a rise out of people. Like people just want to be abrasive to be abrasive.
Yeah,
the sake of it, and it's like, but why?
I mean, like so why? I worked with people from like at every studio that I worked at. I worked with people that were from all different countries.
Yeah,
I worked with other company that you know, remote workers from all over the place as well, and then people in the studio, and it's just I don't know. I just like. If the panel had something new to share on the issue instead of the same talking points,
maybe a certain thing they're setting up to help people or something like
that,
or like something to do something rather than just talk about it.
It's like the three same words over and over again in the panel, which is like diversity,
equality,
inclusion, and blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, how many times do these words have to be yelled at me, or not yelled at me, just like thrown at me all the time? And it's like people get it. Like people understand it.
People that want to get it.
The people that want to get it already get it. The people
that want to get it already get it. And I think a lot of
this panel is not going to help the people that don't want to get it. Though.
The people that don't want to get it hear it and they go, "Why are they doing this? They're ruining games." They make it out to be the biggest negative thing that they could make it out to be. I'm reading the YouTube comments. That's all it is. It's people who don't care for it or people who don't agree with it. They're just saying this is the worst thing in video games. I can't believe they showed this. This isn't the time or place. And then again, that's my question is, so then name the correct time or place to do this. Because I mean, again, look at the fucking optics of it. Yeah. What Take-Two is going to say, April 20th, we're hosting a inclusive, like we're hosting a diversity panel. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, you're gonna get a lot of people checking in on 420 for Take-Two Interactive talking about diversity. It's like
it might be the best time. Everyone's stoned out of their heads. Like, oh yeah, dude, I totally want to be cool. You know what, dude? I've been such a shithead.
No, I just picked that day because it was the first thing that popped into my head. But like,
you know what? Nice, Evan. You know what?
Let me grab my glass of whiskey.
I really think the people who want to get it will get it, and then the people who want to sit, I guarantee. A lot of people behind their keyboards who don't act the way they act on the internet.
Keyboard warrior.
Are sitting there going, total dumb shit, the worst shit they could say. But then in front of their peers are like, dude, I would never be like that. Yeah, that's some fucked up shit. I can't believe that. So I think that's the other people they're trying to get like, hey man, you don't have to be a total dick.
I just like to see the movement actually have metrics.
Yeah, I would like
to see. So, like, if you have a movement and you have a narrative and you have a movement, I mean, show me what it's doing. If you can't show me what it's doing, then I just have
sexism, though. I mean,
that's the difficult thing.
You send out a fucking, hey, do you?
Well, I mean, you would do it by cases.
Check yes or no.
Like, you would do it by like you would go by like national statistics. How many cases were filed under X and harassment? I mean, now than ever, it's easier now. And not that it's ever been easy. I don't want to make it seem like it's an easy thing for someone to come forward about a claim of like sexual harassment or racism or whatever. But it's not. Like, I mean, it's gotten tremendously easier to do so in the last couple of years. But it's like, if you're going to have something that you want to deem as the solution, if the solution is continually bringing up the same talking points over and over again, at least show me on a quarterly basis or at the end of the year like you would with anything else, what is it doing? If it's making more people come forward, that's great. That's positive. Now we need to pivot to make sure that, you can combat against these things, right? So they just don't happen in the first place. But show me something about it. Otherwise, it's an infinite talking point that never ends, and it just loses its stature amongst culture.
Right.
And people just don't continue on with it. They go about their lives with their ethics, but then they just do this where they're like, hey, I just don't really want to hear this.
I think another, not like a problem, but like something else that comes up with something like this where they do a panel like this is that people who don't agree with it, they get embedded further into what they already think, but then they also blow it out of proportion. Like, reading the comments, everybody's like, well, they just politicize this. It's like, I wouldn't say this is so much politicizing it as it's
being a good human being.
It's just being a person. Yeah. Like they have a specific, they're not coming out there and saying vote blue. They're saying go out there and accept the person next to you, regardless of sexual orientation, skin color, who they choose to love, like that thing. And like, that's fine. And reading the comments, these people, it's like Kotaku. They're bitching about capitalism. I don't even know how that has anything to do with Take-Two Interactive. Like,
by that fridge, you're causing the problem.
People. Why would anyone think that they want to hear politics at E3? It's like they're not talking. They're not like, maybe it's considered politics by them, but to me, it's just considered as like
the reason why people go to the problem is nowadays, like Nick was saying with the keyboard stuff, is everybody's a keyboard warrior, and then also there's no chill ground. It's just polarization on both ends.
You're either against it or for it.
Well, yeah, exactly. So to my point, right? To my point, if I went onto that panel and I just said, "Hey, I thought you guys were gonna have games. I think this is okay, but I'm probably gonna head out." Probably somebody's gonna say something pretty radical and extreme to me.
Yeah.
Either in the comments or someone from the panel, just judging today's society. Now, if I went on another panel where people were talking about this, where they don't want to have things like that, and I said, hey guys, I think it's okay to probably talk about it, and you have the right to like listen to it or not. I mean, you can just click the back button in Chrome and not watch the thing.
You can click on any other.
I'd probably get an extreme comment. So it's just like everybody's just kind of like polarized, and unfortunately, like the politics side of stuff, people derive everything back to politics because unfortunately, a lot of politicians just fucking use this stuff to garnish votes, essentially. Not this issue, but I'm saying like issues both sides, or like the views of like those sides, and then it just makes people combative. And I think that also people like, we live in a world with like social media where everybody can post something, and then
nobody knows who they are,
and nobody knows who they are. But not only that, but you can also post stuff and people know who you are. And I think people take that as actual authentic conversation and communication, and then they employ that into the rest of their lives as if that's normal life. And then where you wouldn't have had panels like this, or like look at Kotaku, right? Where you wouldn't have someone so Kotaku did all that shit, and then they just recently put up an article saying it's okay if you missed E3. Okay, so they just dismissed all of E3, right? So they can do that, and they can have those opinions, and then they also put out like opinions towards things that are political in some sense now that they otherwise wouldn't have, because they think in the world now that we live in, if I write on Twitter my opinion, that's communication, right? And then it's like, but that's not the case. So like, you would have people going to work and doing their jobs for like what Brody said, these companies like Coca-Cola doing or Apple, let's take Apple doing their shit, okay? But then they have a pride flag onto it, and then the people from Apple are coming out saying a bunch of stuff. Normally, you wouldn't have had that before. Is that a bad thing or a good thing? I don't really know, but the way that they're going about it is just, maybe not the greatest timing on certain things, but also at the same time, the company still has fucking sweatshops. Like Nike, Pride logo, Pride commercial, all this stuff, and there's, fucking 6-year-olds building shoes that we have on our feet.
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Yep. It's just all marketing. Like, I mean, if you're going to get rid of the sweatshop, now we're talking. Okay, cool. Right. You want to actually like contribute, to society in an ethical manner, right? But like, it's like talking to, like, I don't know. It's just, it's like someone. It's like if you were to meet someone named Nike, Okay, your conversation would be like, okay, what do you think about, gay rights and racism? Racism's terrible. Gay rights, awful. Or so gay rights are great.
Whoa!
Jesus.
Terrible slip up. Someone's going to audio clip that, whatever, who cares? They're going to say,
baby.
totally believe in that. That's great. And you're like, okay, what about sweatshops? I think sweatshops are bad. Whoa.
Oh, wait.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Whoa.
Their response
Sweatshops are fantastic.
No, they go. That doesn't exist.
Would you ever have a conversation with a person like that in public? No, you would immediately be like, this guy's fucking crazy,
right?
Or he's just trying to get something.
I think that it's, my final. Even though I didn't watch it, my final thing on it is that like I understood what they wanted to do, what they meant, and how they meant well.
Yeah.
I understand. Like Brody, I understand your entire like concerning thing about it coming from Take-Two of all people, right? Like I understand
the
that
games
completely.
they make, yeah.
well, I mean, games they make is one thing, yeah, but I understand like as well, like just how they go about making their money and stuff like that. Looking at NBA, they have 2K, right? But like NBA 2K is like, I mean, you have to watch ads when you play NBA, like right? Like I understand that like they also make their own bad decisions, and I understand that it's probably something where they paid to put their fucking name on it, and that was it, just to like,
for sure.
That's marketing, absolutely. But I also think there's that definite thing too of like a lot of people, it just goes right over their heads. I think that a lot of people just look at it and they go, this is about games. This is about this. And it's like, well, E3 is about a lot of things. It's about tech. It's about games. Sure. A lot of people go there a lot of people go there to, no, you're absolutely right.
Rabbids.
Rocksmith Plus.
Whether you want to hear it or not.
I think that what they meant was well, and I think that the people who already know it didn't have to watch it, like me. I didn't have to watch it, and once I heard like what you guys said about it, it was like, oh yeah, of course I don't have to watch that because I already agree with most of the shit they say. I think actually all the shit they say. So like, I get it. But then everybody who doesn't care for it or who doesn't agree with it, it just gives them more fodder, right? It just they're politicizing it. They're trying to brainwash gamers, and it's like they're not trying to. I don't think it's brainwashing anybody at all. Is it brainwashing for trying to get people to think that everybody should be included or like everybody should be accepted? Is that brainwashing?
Who they are?
And are you like?
It almost
the better
shakes
question,
the hornet's nest to some extent.
Right? Yeah, it does exactly. I'd agree with that. Where
it brings the shit bags out.
I'm sure 4chan had a field day.
Well, I think a lot of these people who were truly fucking upset, because there was people who were fucking upset about this. Yeah. So I think a lot of those people don't like that mirror being held up to them. Like, hey, we are talking about you. Stop being a fucking utter piece of shit garbage human. We're sick of it, and you make this community look stupid. That's the biggest thing. The people who constantly spam the N-word in these chats, constantly spam the hard F-word in game chats, or just say all the shit they say, you are what gets on the news when it comes to gaming. You are
make
what
everybody else
turmoil.
Look that, and you probably don't even mean the shit you say. You're just saying
they don't stand by that shit.
You're just getting right because you're an idiot. You can't come up with a proper comeback, so you think I'm just going to say the most toxic word I can think of to get them upset or to to make them feel like inferior.
You would not go up to somebody like Brody, myself, or anyone else here, and be like, "Hey, hard F-bomb.
Look at this Canadian."
No.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
But you know what I mean? Those people who say that shit online would not come up to people like us.
Oh, absolutely not.
Because I would blow their fucking teeth to the back of their throat with my dick or with my hand. I don't know yet.
Whoa, Kanye. Whoa,
I don't know yet. He's still thinking. He's still thinking.
You know what I mean? Like those people.
I don't know.
They need a mirror held up to them, and I think this is a good time to be like, "This is you. This is the problem. We need to,
So
it's a
I
good
agree.
way to do it, but
I agree with that. But I think that as soon as that mirror is held up to them, it just reinforces them back into their hole. It just reinforces, it just pushes them back to go to that space.
It's almost shaming for them too, though, because like that's a shame thing. That's part of shame is to go back.
But that's the thing, though.
People like that don't have shame. That's the
fucking problem. Or if they do, what happens? What if they do have shame and they feel shamed by it? Who's getting shamed? It's them at their computer. They're not being put in a public forum, or they're not being. It's not in public where people are looking at them. It's just behind their keyboard. So what do?
Right.
They go to 4chan, they go to /B, and they bitch about the shit to everybody else.
/B, baby.
And they
so
bitch
Ryan Phillips in person is not Skank Hunt 42.
No.
Okay, God.
But like that's the thing is it just pushes them back into their spot and they just go, this is stupid, and then they make a bigger deal out of it. They go, they're politicizing us, they're trying, and then they turn it into all this other bullshit of like, oh, they're just being capitalist, oh, they're just trying to push me to the left. It's like, well, here's the thing. here's the thing: is that if you have a problem with if you're sitting there and you're listening to like a panel about diversity and inclusivity and accountability, and they're saying like we want people who are of any sexual orientation, like whoever they choose to love, whatever their skin color is, we want them to feel welcome to all of our games and pay their money because we just want them to give us more money for GTA shark cards. Like that's just what so it's like it's that sorry, had to call it take two there for a little bit, but like all that happens and then they go, I don't like it because they're just trying to push me to the right, or they're trying to push me to the left, and it's like so then my response is like, so do you agree with their sentiment or not? Well, no, I don't agree with it because they're trying to get me to go left. So it's like, so then you're kind of just a piece of shit because it's not about being on the left if you agree that people of any sexual orientation or any skin color, that's now you're the problem because you're thinking that that's a political thing. It's like, no, that's a human thing. That's a moral thing to accept people. And so now you look worse. But that's the problem is that I think a lot of people like that, they
don't care.
Put them online. Make it so that way everybody sees them. Friends, family, colleagues, whatever.
Yeah,
but have them all see.
But that's like I want to have it only because I think that the four of us are like the only podcast that could actually probably have like a decent conversation without like it being the extreme on like either end of this, right? Because I mean, like I listen to like a bunch of different podcasts and gaming and stuff like that, and I've listened to their take on it, and some of them were like far, for this to the point where it was like, the shame kind of stuff, or if it was like, and then the other one was like, or like politicization of it and stuff. But I think the problem is, and like what Brody pointed out, is like just like on the keyboard warrior mentality, people do that online, and then it's starting to like kind of transition into real life to where shame is the big thing that people want, and they want embarrassment and shame of people. But you can't shame somebody that does that. And so I think like the people who aren't
right, no, I agree,
who are maybe like sick of it, I think like again, if your only motive is shaming people, because I mean I don't think this one was as bad, but like some of them, sometimes when it goes to that, like there's some panelists and stuff that have opinions that like probably don't word it the best, that kind of make it sound like just like anyone and everyone who's watching that is just inherently an awful person,
a bad person
or racist.
Yeah.
And so like if you watch enough of those and you watch like 2 minutes of this one, you should watch the whole thing, but you're going to get, this judgment idea on your head. But yeah, I mean, like we shouldn't shame people. We should just try to educate people, because to Brody's point, the people who are the bad people, which there's probably not a lot watching that would be considered the people that are like the super racist people. I mean, they
overtly insane
within the first 5 seconds, those people would probably leave, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
but like if you want to actually like come to the table with stuff, I feel like shaming people is not the answer to do it. It would be like educating it, or like changing not your message but changing the format to which you're giving it, or how you're doing it. Like if you give a presentation, people don't understand your presentation, that's your fault.
Yeah,
that's not the person's fault who tried to actively listen to you or
and then didn't get it anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's your fault. So it's like, I don't know.
Just real quick before anybody, I just wanted to say I don't think that I worded it wrong when I said like let people see these people like their friends, family, and colleagues. I don't mean it in a sense of like shaming.
But it's hunting.
It's one of those things where it's like I want it to be like I want people to be educated, but then at the same time it's like I don't. This isn't going to be worded right, so I'm not even going to bother saying it. But like I hate people who, like Nick said, they agree with all the shit in public, but then they get home and they type on their keyboard and then they talk about how much they hate this shit. It's like just fucking say you hate it and be done with it.
I guarantee this episode right here, this segment, it's gonna be polarizing for you. There's gonna be people who listen to this and go, "Oh, I can't believe this is how they think. Snowflakes this, snowflakes that." You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure there's people who hear this and go and say and think like that. Those are the same people at the same time. It's like, dude, like, it's an open conversation.
I don't know if they would.
Type of shit. I'm not saying
I think it'd be a lot less. But
I'm not saying our core demographic. I'm saying there's probably people out there.
I think there's extreme people that would like listen to it, but I don't know. I don't know if it's that many. I think like. No. The way we talk about this,
there's also going to be people that hate this because we're 4 white dudes talking about it.
There's
dramatics on both sides.
Exactly.
And, I agree 100%.
I don't know half the time. I don't know whether to address something or not, or or say something, because you get in trouble for both of them, and I'd rather say something and
because
feel like I'm trying to help a cause.
Because everybody
not
puts
saying anything
shame.
and then be told you're not.
Because everybody puts shame
entire...
into everything instead of education.
Both of our Twitters.
100%.
Both of our Twitters and our social media, and see straight up what we're all about.
Yeah.
If you know us and you listen to the show, you know what both of these shows are about.
Well, yeah, but
we are not for any,
Yeah, no, but that we don't even have to explain that. I mean, that's the problem. The reason why we're explaining that is because this kind of stuff in the community has come to a point where it's the shame at the forefront, and then it's just people looking out to do shit. I mean, like, I'm not going to name them, but we had a tweet come to us and a DM come to us from somebody on Twitter, and the entire premise of the tweet was because Brody and I had said, hey, we're just not... Something came up. It was it was either the riot thing or something, and it got to the political side of stuff, and Brody and I are like, hey, we're just never... We'll talk about stuff within the community and stuff like that, and within gaming, but we're not going to talk about, the basic, like, just politics as a basis within it. That's not our podcast.
Well, this is for people to escape.
And quite frankly, I think people are just sick and tired of hearing this shit constantly on both sides. Especially within game journalism and gaming content and entertainment. But
politics just drag people apart anyway.
Oh yeah,
all it is a big fight of whichever team you support.
I can't believe you fucking
right. Like, how dare you? And it's like, that's when you pick a team at that point, it's a step away from being like, I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan and you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Fuck you. Like, I mean, obviously there's a lot more involved than that, but on some people, they literally just go and hit all red, all blue, whichever one. And so they don't actually make that decision. And that's why we're like, we are not bringing politics into this. And what this conversation that we are having right now is not politics. This is being good to the people around you, being a kind human being, an accepting and welcoming person.
And it's also trying to get people to, like, make a decision and, like, listen to the shit without what you said, the red pill or blue pill in it for everything. To actually keep, like, sanity in literally gaming community as a whole.
Stop looking at it as, hey, we want to talk about diversity and inclusion for everybody of all creeds, sexual orientation, everything. And everybody looks at it and goes, well, they're just trying to turn me into a lefty. It's like, no, they're trying to, well, clearly you're obviously someone who doesn't agree with this shit in the first place if you're having that kind of complaint. So you already don't care for it, or you don't pay attention to it. So you're just turning it into something now where it's like, no, they're not trying to change your politics.
They're go there.
Yeah, that's reading the comments of the fucking Take-Two Interactive on IGN. Everybody's like, they're just like, some dude's talking about post-Marxism. When the fuck was that brought in to any part of this conversation? And that's, I said that. This guy commented that 7 hours ago, and I said, when the fuck did anybody bring up any sort of political ideology into this? Guess what? It's called be nice to the person next to you, regardless if they look like you or they love someone differently than you. Just look at them and go, you are a human. I respect who you are, and I will stick up for you if someone tries to make you feel out of place. That's what it's there for. It's not for, they want me to like people who like the same sex, therefore they're trying to make me a Democrat. No, they're trying to make you a good person.
Trying to turn the frogs gay.
Exactly. They're trying to make you a good person, you dick. So that's what they're trying to do.
I have a good Alex Jones impersonation, by the way. I do a mean Alex Jones.
I don't want to shame people.
There's nothing that can be said either both sides. I mean, unfortunately, I think it's part of culture that has to, like, implode itself, unfortunately.
It needs to be looked at. These things that, like, people are trying to turn into politics is like, this isn't politics. This is just accept the people around you for who they are, regardless of if like they look like you or they don't. Like, just accept them and just say, hey, guess what? You're here. You're lucky to be here on Earth. Like, growing up, being an adult, whatever. You're lucky to be here. And I'm happy to see that someone like you who's comfortable being themselves is here. And I will protect you in the sense of, like, I'll stick up for what you believe in, as like or I'll stick up for who you are is more of what I mean. Right. Is like, just accept people for who they are. As soon as you turn it into, well, they want me to stick up for people for who they are because they want to brainwash me into a different thinking of politics. It's like, no, they just want you to think like a good person, like a moral
with rationale,
a morally, a good person, instead of just going, I don't like them, so therefore, it's this, and this. It's just give it up. Like I think that's the thing of like you make it so serious of like it's politics. It's like it's not. It's just look at people, treat people the way you want to be treated. So you treat people shittily because they're different than you, regardless of like in whatever sense. Then you're kind of a piece of shit for treating someone differently because they're different. You're a piece of shit, and I'll say, come at me on Instagram.
Don't do this. God, no, we're starting to fight. Anyway, the conversation. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good conversation. I mean, like it was one that I think, like honestly, we kind of brought some realism to everything for whatever view anybody has on it.
Right.
But anyways, report cards to wrap this up.
Haven't done HSL come
E3 overall. Brody, you wanted to give your report card first?
E3 overall.
Oh man, you're having a tough time there.
I am having a tough time.
Drum roll, please.
It is difficult. I mean, it went up and down in terms of like
a lot more downs, but there were some pretty good ups. So I'm gonna go. I want to say it was probably. I guess on an average, we're looking at probably a C+. And
wow, I was expecting you to say higher than that. That's crazy.
I was gonna say a B-, but if we're truly going by a report card process, most of them were flops, and we had a couple highs that did very well. And I was trying to think back to the grades I gave them, which were like B+ and A-.
Yeah.
So I guess we're looking at a C+ on average. I'm not disappointed with it. I mean. There was the third and fourth days weren't super exciting. There wasn't a whole lot going on as far as announcements and things. I guess we average out about a C+, maybe a low B-.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go. I'd say a C, and a C only because I thought this was a little bit of a down year with all the circumstances, but I'm extremely optimistic for next year. When I think these companies can get caught up because I'm imagining they are months and months and months behind. So,
I'm sure. Yeah.
A C for me.
All right, Nick, I'll go last.
C+. C+. While there was a lot of highs and lows, and I did state in our pre-E3 show, now, you see, you guys got me in such a serious mood. I'll keep the serious mood, I promise, for right now. There was highs and lows.
He's trying so hard.
I am. There were highs and lows, and I said right before we started all of this that this should have and has to be a year where we get the E3 we want, right? Did I think it was fully possible with everything going on? No, and that's why I'm giving this year's E3 leeway. There's nothing this industry could have done to combat what has happened to the entire world. And the games industry really took a hit. But whether people want to admit it or realize it, it took a hit. To do what these talented developers do, what these studios do, and to have that taken from you to where you have to work from home is not easy. A lot of things got delayed. A lot of these conferences probably were not what they wanted them to be. They probably wanted these conferences to be 10 times bigger with more games. They didn't go, none of these companies, and even the bad showings, they didn't go to this conference going, we are going to piss people off, whatever. They went, we have to give people what we have, so let's just fucking do it. Let's do the best we can fucking do this year. And I think every conference did. Whether I liked it or not, and whether I made fun of it or not, I do think every conference did give it its all. And that's why it's getting a C+ for me. They did what they could this year. And I agree with Jeff. I think next year will be the E3 everyone's been clamoring for. I think we're going to see a lot of cool shit next year. To say next year, that's a long time from now, right? But I have high hopes for next year. I have high hopes that if we continue to go in the way we're going with everything in the world pandemic-wise, and we can get through this, I think the game industry is going to come out a lot stronger. And I'm excited to see where we go from here in this industry. So, C+. And I kept it serious.
Hey, look at you.
It's tough. for me to give it a real honest grade, because I was not there and I did not watch pretty much anything from day 3 or 4. I think I looked up a recap of Capcom at the most. I didn't watch anything from yesterday or from Monday. From everything that I saw, I'd give it probably a B plus. Actually probably just a straight B. I think I'm giving it a B mainly because what I did see that I didn't like was the PC gaming show. And because that was just a whole dumpster fire. Like there was nothing redeeming about it. I'm not going to bring up what you're going to cry about. Okay. But I will if you keep bringing it up. And, but no, PC gaming show just wasn't good, but I was pleased with Xbox. I thought they did a good job. Ubisoft had a lot of things I wasn't interested in. Like Rainbow Six Extraction looks great, but like, it's not something that like I'm super hyped for the way I am for like Battlefield, say, or Forza. Obviously the highlight for me from Ubisoft was Rocksmith Plus. I'm excited to try Far Cry 6, but again, it's one of those things where it's like, if I had to guess, if you had to say like, what's your prediction for it? It's going to be like Far Cry 5, 4, and 3, and New Dawn and Primal. It's just going to be the same fucking thing, which is it's just annoying because it's like you guys get this budget every year, whatever it is. You guys never do anything new. There are sound effects from 3 that are in 5, and that how big of a time gap is that? Right. So for what I saw, I'd give it a B. And then, PC gaming show was not good. Xbox was the highlight for me just because they showed off Battlefield gameplay. Obviously was good, but then there were things that interested me. Like I'm not a huge Sea of Thieves guy, but I kind of want to play it. I've never played a flight sim in my entire life, but the Top Gun edition was like, holy shit, I kind of want to try that. Like Starfield, I'm kind of with Jeff in that boat where it's like I kind of wish I'd seen more rather than just like a quick minute of the footage. So Xbox was definitely the highlight. Ubisoft, like I said, there was Rocksmith Plus and Far Cry 6 are pretty much the only ones that I'm actually kind of like I want to play. Rainbow Six I'll definitely try because I have Ubisoft Plus, but it's not a crazy thing for me. And then I didn't watch Gearbox. I heard from you guys it wasn't good. Devolver Digital, I know that was entertaining, and so I've known they've always been entertaining. I've seen their older stuff.
Crazy.
Monday and Tuesday,
yes.
I imagine it was. Monday and Tuesday was like. Monday, I looked up a Capcom recap and I was like, oh, cool. Resident Evil Village DLC is being made. I expected that much. Didn't care for anything else. Didn't care for anything else on Monday. Nintendo, I believe, like what Brody, like what you said, that it was good. It's just not for me. And then whatever Bandai, I think was the only other major thing. And then the awards, which I
wouldn't even call Bandai major. It was only a 10 minutes about.
Oh, really?
Game.
It was that short?
Yeah, about one game. Yeah.
Oh, then, yeah. So then, I mean, overall, I'd probably stay with that B just because of how little I saw. But if I had seen everything, I probably would have been with you guys in the same boat of like a C minus, C plus range, just because it's empty, right? I mean, think of all the major developers you got. You have Nintendo, Xbox, and Ubisoft, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that's pretty much everybody, right? Gearbox is a little bit smaller. Devolver, same thing. But you don't have Sony and you don't have EA. They're doing their own shit. And I think partially, it's kind of what I think the rest of them should do.
I think that's we've been saying it since we started this podcast that E3 really doesn't seem to have a place anymore because E3 was that time of the year where everybody got together and it was all at one time and that's the only way we had it. But the internet was in a much younger stage at that time. And now we've gotten to the point where Nintendo's doing a direct every couple months or whatever, and Xbox is doing something similar. Square is doing it. I mean, everybody has their own thing now, and I feel like we almost hype E3 up so much, and then we get let down. But that's because these companies are now doing things throughout the entire year rather than just at this one time. And so that landscape of what E3 actually looks like is just very different. And I don't know if there's even really a place for it. Like I figured that after the pandemic last year made it to where we didn't have like a proper E3, I figured this year would be like maybe the last year. I mean, it was kind of one of those things like either everybody's going to come back or not everybody's going to come back. And it's going to be this kind of weird deal, but I just don't know if there's a whole lot of room for E3 anymore. I enjoy it. It's fun, but everybody's just doing their own shit all year long. And now E3 is a much smaller scale, but everybody still wants it to be this massive ordeal where it's game after game after game after game after game. And that's just it's not feasible anymore.
when I think of like the giants, right? When I think of like the giant developers, publishers, that kind of thing. So I think of Xbox. I think of Nintendo is up there, even though I don't pay attention to them, but I know like they're big. Yeah. So I give them that. Right.
I've heard of them a couple times.
Yeah. Well, I helped run Smash tournaments back in the day. A couple of years ago. So like, yeah, I had to be a part of it, which is probably why I have so much like just not like just I don't care for it now. That's probably why. But so like I think of Xbox, Nintendo, Ubisoft, Sony, EA, PC gaming show. Like yeah, I can be good at sometimes, but like I mean whatever. And it's like yeah, Sony does their own thing. I guarantee if Sony were here this year, probably would have seen just because of off the top of my head, there probably would have been a teaser for the Uncharted movie. There probably would have been some sort of announcement or gameplay reveal of Last of Us 2's multiplayer that they're making or DLC. Or hey, guess what? We're bringing the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection to PC, and we're bringing Last of Us 1 and 2 to PC as like as a bundle. You can buy Last of Us 1 and 2 together and the Uncharted collection together, something like that, right? But Sony's just saying, no, screw it. We're going to do it on our own because the people who care about it are going to tune into it. And it's like, just looking at you guys, right? You guys watch maybe these companies that you don't really pay attention to or you don't care for. And there was really nothing that crazy about them. Gearbox, for instance. I mean, I don't know what you particularly, Brody, play from Gearbox, if anything. I mean,
played Borderlands, but even then,
right?
That kind of, it doesn't hit. It doesn't hit like it used to.
I'm hyped.
I really don't enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that it's just kind of those things where it's like, Xbox, do your event same time, like do your event, around the same style of like early summer, June, whatever. But like I remember back in the day, that's when it was hype. When I was a kid and my dad would go to Los Angeles and he would be able to see everything. And I was at home watching, all day, or I was watching during class, or I was checking my phone or whatever. And I was like, oh shit, like they announced this, or like they showed off this Battlefield or whatever. Right. But now it's become a thing like, yeah, you said everybody just does their own shit now because the people who care about it are going to tune into those things. Because those people have social media, so they're going to see it on Gearbox's Instagram, they're going to see it on Gearbox's Twitter, and then they're going to tune in for that. Same thing with Square Enix, same thing with Xbox and Sony, EA, Ubisoft, everybody. So I personally, for me, I think it's just kind of one of those things where it's stop doing it. Like, maybe it's time for it to end. I mean, maybe have the business side of it still to show off tech, but I mean, most consumers, I'd say, don't really care about showing off the tech. I mean, I would be one of those people. If I were able to go to E3 and that's where they showed off, I don't know if it'd be E3 or if it'd be like the Game Developers Conference, but like if I was able to go there and see them, see them, I'd love to go there just to see them show off the Frostbite engine. I probably wouldn't understand shit. I probably would not understand a single thing they're explaining to me, but I would love to see what it can pull off. Same thing with like the Unreal Engine 5. I'd love to see these things, but most people, I'd say, don't care to see what the engine is behind the game they're playing. They just want to see the game itself. And Xbox was the strongest by far. I think just they were quick to the point. Like Nick said, very little padding. A lot of the games, things that I don't care for or don't play very often, I was interested in. I don't have a flight stick or a yoke. I don't know how to fly a plane in real life or in a simulation. But like I
don't even know how to fly a paper plane.
I don't even know how to drive a car. But I saw that and I was like, holy shit! I want to play this. I was like, I want to fly like the F-16 or whatever. That'd be fucking sweet. Sea of Thieves. It's like, holy crap, we got Jack Sparrow. Holy shit, boys! Let's download this shit and let's play. Like,
yeah. But
yeah, most everything else just kind of fell flat for me, or I didn't even care to watch it just because nothing was interesting to me. So.
Enough.
And 2 thumbs down. No, I'm kidding.
Can I end this episode?
I think Jeff, did you give your grade yet?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It was a
okay.
Jeff wants to go to bed.
I have 2 pieces of quick news.
Okay. What?
First off, Kotaku is getting drugged through the internet right now.
I saw that.
I know. I'm so happy.
They are getting eviscerated right now. Fuck you, Kotaku.
They'll write an article. They'll write an article about it. Don't worry.
Oh, love it. Secondly, so Metroid. I know I'm not trying to drag this episode because it's 2 hours in. Metroid did release a deluxe edition today. Scalper's already got it, so can't get it. Well, it was $80, and now you have to spend like $300.
Way to just fucking give a downer, bro, on the last.
You know what? Let me make a happy announcement.
Well, the happy was the Kotaku.
Yeah, so you screwed up the order.
Okay, a happier announcement. OBO is coming. You're getting more WASD and Diggity content coming for every fucking game thing ever happening. Well, we have a lot in the pipeline for our shows.
I wasn't being sarcastic. I was being serious. Good plug.
Yeah, we're gonna do it, man. Just think, guys. Just think, guys. A year ago, we were like, "Hey, let's hop on one show," and now we're doing endless amounts of content.
We're brothers in arms through E3.
Yeah, dude.
Holy fuck!
We just completed E3.
So the hashtag was trending before we went live. But now 4chan seems to be mobilized, and that they're telling people that they're not going to.
Oh no!
I mean, they're probably going to DDoS them, but then they're also like, people are saying, "I am not going to fucking go to their website anymore. I'm done."
Love it, love it. It's all about the E3 coverage they did, and somebody was saying they're just being racist towards otaku culture when their name is Kotaku.
Right. Entirely based off of it. Yeah, I was looking through that hashtag earlier today. And I'm like,
love it.
What's the hashtag?
It's just hashtag Kotaku.
Some guy from Kotaku or from a video game website said, "I'm not apologizing for exclusivity. I don't have to do anything. Some of our fans are upset / angry, and I'm sorry they are. That isn't wrong or weird. It's acknowledging how they feel. That's it. That's my whole point." And the person writes, "How many times can I post this? I'm done with all the gaming news websites. They're nothing more than fake news, tabloid trash. 99% of the time. Stop visiting this fucking garbage website. Staffed with shit writers owned by dumb corporations."
Guess what, Kotaku? We're buying that fridge. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I will buy it out of pure spite.
Someone wrote 13 hours ago, "With Breath of the Wild 2 on its way, let's reopen the discussion of weapon durability and how it's kind of bullshit." That's what Kotaku wrote.
And then shortly before they had an article about the the Origins, Final Fantasy Origins game, and they're like, this game would have probably looked a lot better if they didn't have a normie fuckboy as the protagonist. And
that's it here. Oh, Final Fantasy Origins normie fuckboy scores more stylish gear as you play.
Kotaku is trending. I'm guessing it's for a dumb article written by someone who has no reason being a game journalist.
God damn.
Every few days, I remember when Kotaku did this, the first image is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's Persona 5 DLC appears to include a disability slur. Then the second image, we screwed up with that Persona lyric. So the secondary article to it within a day.
Here's a novel idea. Maybe look at your sources before you fucking post something up.
All right, we're going to post this episode out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done. What? Thank you, everybody, for listening to us over these past couple of days. It's been a great collab with WASD. Look forward to OBO. It's going to be fucking crazy. And excited for the next collab, my dudes. Until next time, we'll see y'all later. Have a wonderful evening.
We're not plugging anybody tonight. Check out Final Boss. That's it. Take it easy, guys.
I'm not going to plug anything, but I'm going to plug a bunch of shit. Thanks, Nick. See everybody.
Sponsor. Bye.